Yo, assalamualaikum baringolu. Bal bujalo. Sorry, bal bismillah lakal punya. Welcome to the UDP online bantaba. Be talata long August karotil morning kononto. It's Tuesday today, 29th of August 2023. It's 16 minutes past 7 across the UK right now. 60 minutes past 8 in mainland Europe, and it's 60 minutes past 6 p.m. in Gambia. Bal kontona program mode after fama ndingo keta na dialo ne dalilo me na fama ndingo keta after nyin suno ba keta diaspora jam ben keta na product di late lamin kamera bidwalai ala mala so la jam senela una program le suspend foning tele sabo wotala wala na bi resume na interview kal kondon nyanta interview so la jam Uncle Lare Sisay me alon ko UDP, one of the UDP law technical advisors all atala pikalo na luntam bati UDP online bantaba bi but Bismillah, maybe in the next 15 minutes Uncle Lare should join me live from Gambia. Neatra Korango continues to be available, fingers crossed. So mina wakajala kajal program on last week but because of bring some okata program on by out of respect to our late colleague Mealongo. He used to be a big fan of this program. UDP online alamin kamera the duala alamala so larger seneola. Before Uncle Lare and Arek, I have some couple of announcements to do. So bimbe kondondero talalale ko duarek alamongo do program ko na kaya ko alama sabati frewol ne morning kiso kale bema ndol kele na dimbal na family alama sutoro alama le kera ba kenye bokay man na bismillah te UDP online banta ba te talata ñaari fekk fama juróom ñenent si weeri August si current affairs show boo xam ne dañu war a interview bu am solo ak Uncle Lare Sisay, one of the technical advisors in the ranks of UDP. Tey def na interview bu am solo West Coast Radio UDP at 27 UDP Magal suñu 27th anniversary on Wednesday. So we are here pour ñu waxtaan interview bu am solo boobu noonu interview bi dañ ko waroon a am last week waaye ñëpp xam nañ ne suñu broda génn na àdduna the late Lamin Camara so ba léegi loolu moom ñu ngi ko feel so dinaa def some announcements in regards to that and then we can just continue the program. Uncle Lare so join me in 11 minutes time and then he will be our guest. Hopefully we'll have stable electricity and stable internet connection, hopefully, and then we can crack on have this interview with Mohammed Solo. So before we do that, let me just say this. Sorry, I'm just trying to be multitasking, and then I can just crowd up. So Uncle Lare didn't know, but just some quick updates in regards to the late Lamin Camara. Thank you to the diaspora. Family members will go kondondiro barani diaspora ko na bake. Abari surtout Lamin signol in the Greece. Kono la president be no Lamin tenan Bob Touré and Lamin na roommate. La president be Lainoto. In fact, Grace Nkolu itol fonata Lamin signol itol fon e kodo nyim fon sindele pour ka frère ni samba. So kodo nyim menyanta body ni samba la itol killing on their own. The contribution of Menke I asile kono nim Bob Touré be Lainoto. And Mr. Sambu le Mohamed Salah me alon katalon Gambian community increase la president me tendola be jay la back family contanda back Lamin Molmeng nata they responded positively CEO water back Gambians in the diaspora got united to have this common goal calls and the family bowl. So family tendero sindi ni ML Fati fana ba konton na bake na product kendo mi jama ML Fati UDP Warrior ni alon ka tele ko for meaning setup but ko ku beje fana akante kundi go bonda kala mole every step about kela go full mila processing ko rol min dunta na be fengo fen kela rek na satala de maro akam update le aka receipt kinyana so e ko nga tenturo sindalma diaspora ko jërëjëf jëf yéen yëpp family bi Lamin Camara dañ kontaan si yéen waaye xam naa ne according to what they have said all the paperwork virtually they have already completed the paperwork flights now they are trying to book the flight possibly this Friday Thursday or Friday body bit na agagambe if all goes well ning arami solo oral jubo inshallah ning alama na tanake body nyembe futala Gambia ngalo na futata be sutororo ke la family members ol fanan be la tenturo fulale diaspora ko le ko si kontanta bake bari yeni kalmo le dunda local tempo bake atol diaspora ko momo dunta ko ko je alama alayju alama te tanin to tal jëm fala ñola wala ten na fu janne kende ya te bari atale kende ya ko mayata bakale so dinga ku kendul bara seket na fatin tol be ni dunia ko ma de lakira so Lamin la mbe update fanan kelale ni body ni bata grace be update kala na Facebook wala to le be bol be update la wala pour mo be sa kalam to nyama but body ni hansa ba grace because ala de jam to abdu kubuka taria ko do ni sita le grace ko ya kada bakele dol dam ma ko do ni sindile ye men soto mashallah ngama about 3,600 euros itoli obi sindile so ko do be go fund me to nata men kacha wolom bawali ya bulindile pour dimbaya la ko o jama ko do ke wala baw Lamin te keri mbara la dimbaya bi jela din sabale to soko no anen buso so diaspora be every step kala le pour ko do ni sindi ml fati fon nyanda tala Gambia le aya fo wala ya fo programme to janne ade fon is on its way to the Gambia so na bita be ko do ni fotanil de bala on behalf of the diaspora me presentation o kala la ko ko be diaspora ko ba kadela amanke comme kuti but for transparency and accountability we have to show everything be ko be tan la ko do ni nena fotandi dimbayama so akamta 6,000 over 6,000 little over 6,000 go for me tole so MLA go for me closely kunun for kunun ko bam so it's not working now and still individual be more contact kan ka kodo ki Gambia do be kodo ki kan Gambia ngamo do je Germany maybe amari tela flanga to jam ani na mo ken de ba do fana be America wole sada mon ko kile me alon ko after family no do fana sada mon ko ki le sukay da haba fana ala badi molno ate mo kile ngam me Germany ba tento la baki so momo dunda ko ko je ala baraka baki alama ala ya jo alama baraju ni afutala ngala dimbalma para alama sabante fofon ala yaso arjana sinola tata dami alama je fisale duniyati wole announcement plan that's just quick update in regards to Lamin body situation but body ni mamba grease follow but nabe mo inshallah maybe nyarami so longo orang arjumo ni ala yimbe ma bola jele so ga grease ngol ten to bake ya kata ye kutu kata laji wala na kambe ngo beta ko ni bof to be line to president ko wala ko nga nyomu ta janimbe diaspora mashallah ni nyomu ta jam it's going to be to the greater good of everybody hadama di woni yoti fambulo saya do ngate ko sara saya ko sara de saya ka hadama di mo monele and sometimes I say tara sora jaw so nga nyomuta de nga nyomuta nte kelano nte mbete kelano kafu kelin nana ta na Gambian ka yala mu be mo kilolati so be mo tentu la baki be mo jaila mali yalo ko dunta momo dunta ko no je yala ngala yeju la barakem dolla so family nyim fanan be masawula ila momo kendo me yalon ka pote ko ye munya drum bala mo so konto na sanwala ko tengi benkata benta jafuneti nala dimba yalo so mal tentu la baki Uncle Lare should be here in 5 minutes and then we'll crack on with the interview tomorrow UDP ke chapter molu binala jam Malayalongo in forthcoming Congress Tunko Marina la Timo Lamin Samate na la Timo Lamin Samate is the chairman of the London branch the media Timo Ole binala jam ni ole bekacha sukula sama jam gularo it's going to be an early start 5:30 p.m. UK tomorrow It's going to be 5:30 p.m. UK. So the interview sort of like UDP chapter, London branch, forthcoming Congress. Ali Ajalina announcement now. Luntango longa na guest do for the program will give you can yagila sefer okay. Definitely guess one of the on the name. I think that's the individual name Woody Marina. One of the guests. I think I got that right. So some of you can call Lebinala Jam Kanaka Chala. So Allah Brakaki. The Uncle Larry Narajam. But just before Uncle Larry now, the Amobe sharing Gambia Baki, Mantra current affairs solar, maybe current affairs suited, sort of like maybe some of sinning. Aliajaling later on say social media. Secretary General Salimatu Ture later on sabe motola vehicle motolika motol commandier nyame system okono. Mazakona motolu. Aliaje fana nga later on say in regards to the COVID-19 funds National Assembly be kiskirola. Nani later on boneta system on kona bebe na Facebook auto. Thank you to the sources melka information all dina. But be nga kibala mo me alongo ba fokam malo million jeme. I think I wrote it down. I have to double check because I want to give wrong information. Frontline workers or could all men do table. They call it labajita system or auditor, the National Audit Office layer. $100 million is missing. National Audit Office report. Kodo Mealango is meant for frontline workers. Kame Melkatara. Ning Jarake Dalabonaro Mealango, it all the first point of quality. Workers who later no so frontline workers all iko kodol mealango ya masakunda ya ko depasi iko million keme na ngani information moy King FM le ntamafo so ni information ni mo doubts ready I'm just a messenger. I heard it on the King FM news iko National Audit Office raised a query on this $100 million is allegedly missing according to the National Audit Office. National Audit Office not newly have. I don't know whether I should use the word allegedly. I think then it becomes substantive. So because we're all audited. So near the corruption when we became in Gambia. So the Uncle Lare Sisay you got question again on King on coffee show about Lawyer Dabo Cool. And obviously there's a brouhaha between Lawyer Dabo and the IAC chairman because the party leader spoke during UDP 27-year anniversary. Kavoko integrity of Gambia election is something I have concern. Gambia election of IC chairman, IC Natalie trying to debunk the party leader statement go manka kutime alongo. Itola jero ta mansoto. So Uncle Larry Kachara Kolale and Peter Gomez program. And also he spoke about the people challenging the party leader, coming Kavoko. He's been the leader of UDP. Okay, Lamin Ture. Lamin Ture, take a question on even if I know the cause of that, you think I will come on Bantaba and say it? Who is this Lamin Ture? Lamin Ture, so the final question on these things are confidential. They are just for the family. Lamin, even it can be more a post-mortem game. Sometimes they just those things that information is only disclosed to the family and it's purely for family like confidentiality. If you got a funny family left like a fountain, but the cause of somebody's death, it is all for a platform. If I know why, okay. Malong for you mean called them Malong. Mobo got a platform they got carrying you. Do you want to go? Okay? Come on. I'm even shocked that you asked that question. I mean, to remember in YouTube. You don't ask such questions. Those things are for the family. Okay? Family la comes on. And if family la for la may, fine, also is our phone number. But you don't go to the platform. You can more a cause of death announced. Who does that? Yeah. Okay, Uncle Larry is here. Okay, Uncle Larry mute. I'm mute, like I have a telephone mode. Okay. Okay, Uncle Larry, near mute, and I'm going to get the telephone. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not called sort of.
Yeah, Lare Sisay ko nangola man technology lombake because non dela dia mo baby na funde la studio kono janne so ko mbati ngani Sisay ko nango mi ba.
Bari wala tin nam fana wulta ko.
Na hani wulda mba mo e kande ko be kam. Anyway, Alima be toño rola to reko nango dole be nyini ngaro la ja ka fo cause of some reason. Alima nyin kan malam fo zam mundalom fo min tola malabe planet min tole bari jumala gara platform de ka foko jumala carry la cause of death for Molly, you know. So anyway, Uncle Larry, bismillah to this interview. I'm gonna say I'm enjoying introduction of Molly Lorne.
Thank you.
Congratulations, UDP at 27. UDP sending one Warawala. Last Wednesday, party leader made him speak UDP commemorating UDP like 27-year anniversary. So nyanda nala nun janne bari aning sango le benta men keta na colleague la ni kana alone men so anything we both agreed out of respect pruga interview new reschedule. Yeah. So but in sebla rek ni mo le ñoo konton then nga du ka kon.
Good evening, Seku Inila listeners.
Abaraka.
Yes, mpenketale d'accord ko nga out of respect nga falling but nato moment nung nga interview ke UDP platform to follow jan nimbita West Coast.
Yeah.
Ala man na la ñiningal. Albal hako boend la ñele nim fresco sifa be ñola be mbatandi kambak.
Call le bela but for Somalia le Gambia.
No, Sumayate. It's just that I've been working around the clock last couple of weeks, and it's catching up on me.
Oh, okay. Speedy recovery, Uncle Larry. Speedy recovery. You know.
So mbukarti solale andum den nu fana fitala because nu ka bonna ko geosite.
No, that is perfectly understandable. But your device dole sure dala jebang. I can hear a bit of echo. Device do man dala.
No, device bendala bar telephone wala ma jam fatal.
Maybe I mute. Maybe waleka. Ya banda ba tune wala lefo.
Ani?
Okay.
My tune and it's on mute.
Okay. Uncle Larry ngamera alima nyanta ni alima be dala ja fay pepe supol fenke janing lemo komoni honey yol ming. Wobela fresh colony it does help a lot with, and you have to drink a lot of fluid as well, so it does help, you know. Gambia can.
Yeah, well, I'm doing all of that.
Yeah, good. Somebody da. Afo fresh colony mbula den don't UDP kola mbula ita NPP. Ita NPP.
We are busy working on things.
Yeah.
It becomes a bit difficult.
Yeah, I like your level of city corner. Biri amu ko ikata coffee show le ko madunga nga fenga Canada nanyi marala nkolo.
Well, niano e marabulu fula faling wo bukante muta.
So, bari ali akabe mune tabile nama koso. Muno nama koso. Akabe nama koso le tabile with extra spicy.
Ite sego isafo ite man nama duran jarang kol ka fa ne nada.
Atema fonto la kangoto ate afo nyani kangoto la tinna.
Well, nama duran nada c'est la même chose.
Okay, Uncle saying adung kachakon, how do you feel? Ite fong emeta ye Gambia ye kuja male karabajo, we have vast experience Gambia la political and Gambia banko fong la kola. Partiyo mengam dako United Democratic Party iko sanyi muwane wura wula bahani saying amantara manse kuda. Anja wol kamemfo iko UDP ndoloka CC le bari mbuka mala andunte malala. Will be opposition for life. Ndolo ka ngatrua na opposition ya jura rek. So uncle learning kalume sifal moy. And in considering ko UDP come ya la diamore na coffee show paying tribute to our fallen heroes. Molme Father New Kuala, Padiola Kuala. So you can kumul the nyadile. And we therefore, how do you really feel about UDP at 27? Yaja nyadile.
Well, sehu political mu kumoleti. Kuma folem, kuma fokasia, chocho kasia. UDP la tariko. Niajibe kabrin 1996. Anin sa intema. UDP dingumen doron fata bankola kuala. Ye menu bute bankola kuala. Ye menu rape bankola kuala. Ye menu meme bankola kuala.
Yeah.
Ye menu arrest bankola kuala. Oh, basically no consent bang. Ndema mira osike no consent. I'm a very in fact I describe myself as an eternal optimist. I'm very optimistic about UDP. Simply because UDP mukafol timea lonko funding ke olle siataje. At some point ni ko koe balu. For funding ke olle funding musole taraje.
For now.
UDP la membership near structural GB at all levels.
Yeah.
It's replete with young people. This is the reason for my hope. And I think these young people need to prepare themselves. When I go around the country, when I go to youth movement things, I tell them, Alal fam parend banko kam. Fam parendo mumuneti. Go and educate yourself. Get skills. It doesn't matter what skill it is. Just get a skill. And train your mind to think critically. Nalie londo soto, ale mecho soto, wolebe patio nafa.
Yeah.
This current leadership, honestly, niajibe na kebal. Ibijele because it will lebe patio nyato and ibem sambaka nyame ntefe. Inyantan sambala olenya. But funding ke all nim funding musol fananyante famparendilale for that particular leadership role. Wala nanka for dindimule ko go to the university, get a skill, go to GTTI, whatever you do, just get yourself an education of some sort. Wala mu patiola strength. Now, menuka foko lokuntole mu sisiola mu ibe analogy men dikam. That analogy does not hold as far as UDP is concerned. Munemu analogy, you recall when Sirif Diba went around the country deposing all those big traditional chiefs. Mama tamba nyolu sora dabo nyolu wa ide afo isi sisi ko lokunto barite malala.
Yeah.
UDP hasn't done that kind of activity around the country. If anything, now traditional structures support, na traditional houses support, na traditional authority finance support. So analogy, just throw it out. It doesn't make any logical sense. Now, as far as the future is concerned, like I said, the future really of this country politically belongs to UDP. And the Walatin, they go nuts when we start shaking things up. Nkanyindi amo mengita aliamera bukanyula affect. Ake affect le baba ke fande because mbuka diamu kenzenke nka diamu with knowledge, nka diamu with experience, and nka diamu with the very best of intentions for the country. If you want to be genuine, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Now, as opposed to the other side, mafoka man genuine or genuine, but mfatatal ntol mutonya patiolet. We are a party of honesty, we are a party of the truth, and we are a party of impeccable discipline. So ni ko ben ni kanyandila ben comparison tije ntaka fo neko ala tribe wrong al UDP norm. just follow our footsteps, because at the end of the day, that's all you're going to be seeing, our footsteps. Now,
okay, Uncle, for it is with great sense of pride, Kafoko UDP near compared to 96. Today, we are in a stronger position. Comme patio nying, ese o fo nole, anu ni be o fola, ebe mo dalilo le tunkundilala, because comme patio nying ngalona fudota dame, but today ni tebe assessment kala. Isa for UDP, bill and sembo warata community.
patio me alonka e sanji muani woro la soto. Wo sanji muani woro lo kono. Ya e ko bele kata. Purka UDP buruka ma burukan. Yo baro fanan kabranata after the coalition fell apart. Akafo mole mbe UDP fala. Abuka wala. Abuka mfano. In fact, we are so strong. Abute election ola. Natra ko temantuje for free, fair, transparent elections. UDP is not going to be second to anybody. Now issue left for B. Election integrity is at the core of the instability in our sub-region. Why do I say that? Our leaders have a very high propensity to rig elections.
Yeah.
They have a very high propensity to change constitutions to cater to their whims and caprices. Now, Abubakar Salami, the Nigerian special envoy for ECOWAS, when he went to Niger this past week, yalo emunefai. Eka ko molmen keki man legitimacy soto.
Exactly.
So, moment man legitimacy soto has no business telling us what to do.
Exactly.
Eye be killing for nye nyineke. So taya for a ko. Niaje soja rol ka kudeta ke. It's because it only man tilling bankoe.
For now.
Ika electional rig. Ika kodol sunya. Ibuka sonna jila ni jiwato sita. Damante maosabo bula. Kudeta te bonola West Africa. He qualified Abu Salami, and when he went, that's what he said. It's interesting, international media didn't pick that up. But that is at the crux of the matter in as far as illegitimacy is concerned. So Niger, they made it very clear that Niajenga Bazoum coup d'etat, ala election akaime win ama win. Molle Tariadron ya Kalin. And you have to remember that General Tiani was commander of the Presidential Guard at the time, so he knew what was happening. He knew what was happening. They claim he didn't win the election, that he was rammed through the system for some special interests.
Yeah.
And then, in Atafo Fananko, put all of that aside. Kabring parliamentary election of Fananketa, Alapati came out third in the parliamentary election. So these are all issues that we are aware of, and we feel he's putting the country at risk. Now,
absolutely.
Who can argue with that?
No one.
We are all advocating for an open democratic society.
Yeah.
But if you have people who are hell-bent on rigging elections, imposing themselves on people, there is going to be a breaking point.
Yeah.
And this is where the military comes in. So the message is very clear.
Yeah.
Yes, we don't like coup d'etats ourselves, but please address corruption.
Yeah.
Address the issue of non-constitutional means of ascending to power. And 3, stop manipulating the constitutions to entrench yourself beyond 2 terms.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think that message is very clear.
It's loud and clear. Uncle Abarka Bake, Bani Molabella Mokang, UDP line Bandabala, Uncle Lare Sisay be interview so Kenya. Audience Tolu, Melino Yella later. Pro Bomo Caro, so please call in. But also Caro in the comment section of the broadcast. Remember, Lafi call, you can always put a question. I can't guarantee that I will be able to ask all the questions because comments on this theater, maybe some of them will elude me, but I will do my utmost best to ask all the question. But nigga line only yele, then Uncle Larry Parker Kachala. Then, but I can line I can call for the line only. Uncle Larry, meduna nyeng institutional coup d'etat. But then let's start with because I was following the interview in Peter and also headline news today. The IC chairman Ali Umar Njai.
Yes.
He came out debunking party leader Lakumo Imam for Manjai political bureau for Gambia election or a problem. It's an integrity issue with Gambia presidential elections. And Ngaja Peter was trying to, I think that was a listener, made text go. Iko UDP Ngolu. He can't look complain 2021 president election but Mboka complain local government election because we did well. Iko forward for Murana Mafo that was rigged. Mafo council or area mayor chairman or mayor election Mafo lit but Dolka and it's the same IEC. So we keep getting these questions thrown at us. Following and the IEC Fanambole Fokang, they're basically refuting party leader statement Gavuko election of fraudulent in Gambia. So yo dile.
Yeah, well, if you recall, Peter raised it.
Yeah.
And my immediate reaction was, what do you expect from the IEC chair? He cannot come out and say Lawyer Dabo's statement on the state of elections is factual. All he can do is to deny it, to refute it. But the evidence that Koto Usenu has been giving is that Kabrin 1996, when he got involved in this election, all the subsequent elections have been flawed. Peter Nyininka, does that include the last municipal elections? I said yes. Why? Because you had foreigners on our voters' roll.
Yeah.
Now, it's just that Molle Wulita, Yela Dulalu garde, ni molman chanso to ke la mol transport nan ke bondit la dol to ke sambad la dol. Ni watanung they would have won the local government elections. Because of the fact that I was there to monitor the borders from literally from Brikamaba to Kudam to Pakaliba, Jaras Lukuta to Bureng, all the way to Soma, and then all the way to Kian Jataba. These guys organized themselves to make sure that foreign elements do not come into the country to vote. But the numbers were very limited.
Yeah, minimized, greatly minimized.
Yes. Now, what is interesting about all of that is that Mama Kande, GDC made a sort of an alliance with UDP, Kafoko, because Mama Kande finally saw that foreigners can electional rigni mole. Gambians really do not have a say to decide who leads them. So he decided to say, no, we have to stop this. If you recall his Congress statement in Soma, just before the council elections, this is what he said. And he backed his statement with actual action. And in the mole to make sure that this foreign influx is minimized. So in that regard, yes, the council elections were also flawed. Now, the flawness of the council elections had to deal with that element of the voters' roll. Yalong, when our petition was prepared, we had what the lawyers called incontrovertible evidence that irregularities happened during the registration. Koto Senu, he came out with only one example, and that is the Jambanjeli example. The voters' roll in Jambanjeli had a lot of people who are registered outside of the legally gazetted registration time frame. And then there were other cases around the country that support that. So all that in the petition on Tata Supreme Court. And as I said today, it's unfortunate the Supreme Court didn't hear us simply because of a technicality. And the technicality really nibe president samanla ibuka samane ko Lare Sisay ni Seku Sedi. Because you can't la soul gonna le bunda konko e samano dim. Ibuka okay no state house. You have to go through a process.
Yeah, that was a flimsy, really flimsy ground.
It was. Kafoko President Fangman served Fonko in summons in is bogus because yes he must have, but he had Fonko lale, if protocol lale, and then a lawyer appeared in court the next day.
Yeah.
So how do you say you haven't served me, but you prepared your lawyer to go and answer your case in court?
Nandala Gerardo Uncle, I think the Chief Justice Asan Jallo just wanted to get this thing out of the way because the swearing in was on the 19th of January, and these people are already prepared to invite foreign dignitaries, foreign heads of state. So if he had allowed the court, the Supreme Court to listen to that petition, that would have actually delayed the swearing in the borough. So he just used that, or flimsy ground. Okay, let me just throw this out so that we can go ahead with the petition. But it's really, really, I think in hindsight, he would regret that because he could have given the opportunity for the case to be heard. You understand? And the other case was thrown out on the merit or the demerit of now evidences, then that would be better. But just anyway, but Peter a point over Uncle Larry, I'll bring that here. I mean, he made a great point. Kafuko for UDP, we should document this like in form of a book. I think Peter did ask you that question. I think that's he made a great point, great suggestion.
I agree with him, but if nibe political tema, ibuka book sifa safe. Wala nankaya ko amanke ko Korose who is not thinking about these things. He must be thinking about them. Because for me, it's all about what legacy he leaves behind.
Yeah.
So nibe legacy lela and the mambo political kono follow. This is not America where you have Obama and all the others writing a book before they run for president. Africa bukatama wanya. Nibe buko safele ba safela nyine kama mbembulo kula politiko baga. So ntefe Korosenu will write. If for nothing else, because ala vast experience and knowledge, ala activities in the political arena, in the legal field, all needs to be captured.
Yeah.
I'm a great fan of our leaders putting pen to paper, and actually giving us the benefit of the doubt in terms of what their analysis of our society and its socio-economic, cultural situation. I'm a great fan of that. But Linko Rosenia decide he's going to write something. I'll be the first to volunteer to help.
Good. I think Gambians will really look forward to that. To add on to Sadaudola Buko, I think that that was book on the political history and our life as a UDP leader will be an interesting read for a lot of Gambians. But Uncle, there is an NPP listener in Gambia. I think that might be Gambia. I am I am not a fan of UDP. I'm not a supporter of UDP, but I follow your programs. I think there's a lot of things that I do learn from your shows, even though you're very critical of Adama Barrow. But I think UDP should just drop this point about electoral rigging because it doesn't make sense to us that when you win, you don't complain about elections being rigged. It's only when you lose. And the idea that you have stepped up monitoring of foreign registration that Uncle Larry is saying doesn't make any sense to me because it's the same electoral register that the IEC is using. Can you ask Uncle Larry what has changed from the electoral register? because it's same electoral register. So it's only you only cry foul when you win, but you don't when you lose. You then say elections are rigged. I think we're gonna live up with this, Uncle Larry. They keep bringing this point.
Nko ite imang issues soto because ya lon neng kamem for. I just finished telling you that, and also Peter, that I thought the electoral roll has been infiltrated.
Yeah.
Didn't I say that?
Yeah.
That means that the voters' roll is polluted.
Yeah.
If it is polluted, then we have a flawed election.
Yeah.
Whether UDP wins or loses does not negate the fact that the election, the voters' roll was polluted.
Yeah.
Now, Kafoko ni UDP winter, it's okay, Nima win is not okay. No. Koto no ala press conference, he made it very clear that from the time he got involved in elections, none of those elections were transparent, free, fair. And these last elections, the presidential election, parliamentary election, and then municipal elections, is the same voters roll that comes in. There is a guy who's commenting in your section to say central government should be blamed because they gave our vital documents to foreigners. I raised that today.
Yeah, attestation.
To say to Peter, this is one of the biggest issues that we have because our vital documents are being given to people who have no business having them. Yeah. So if this individual who is texting you wants to test that, fine. But atem bondinolan kamemfo. Ntolko, let Gambians be allowed to vote for their leaders. We don't need an influx of foreigners to tell us who to lead us. And
Uncle Larry, in fact, just to buttress your point, definitely 2021 election was rigged because I was there. We were all on the ground, and there was complete silence in the country. Barrow claimed to have got 400 and something thousand. What happened to those 400,000 voters? Because the jubilation should be so evident. Like when coalition of being the Yajiko, Westfield, Mol Jurumata J, Mol, where people are celebrating, but on the 5th of December, Gambia be shallow, and Barrow by 400,000. I keep asking myself this question. Celebrating. What happened? The landslide that Barrow thought he got, 53, was really disproportionate compared to even Yaya Jammeh victory mentioned. Latter years, Yaya Jammeh started winning big, but 96, big margins. So to this person, NPP supporter, definitely 2021 was Rick Ongolari. We can't just keep on talking about this, but definitely 2021 election was rigged, So
Yalo mandin kol ka fo me ko ikanyim 400,000 voters men for ile. Mandin kol ka fo le tatale mente meles. Yalo mente meles mumunet.
Ha.
Iye mantale. That is the thing. Let nobody fool you. If people were allowed to vote, Gambians were allowed to vote, we have seen what they are capable of doing. Yeah, election o keta kabo base kata fo kalaj. Kabo kalaj kata fo banyun. Baro e council killing na win. Isn't that not instructive in itself?
Yeah.
An incumbent with bundles of money campaigning, and you are defeated in that way. May or defeat nothing, and that was the resilience and the determination of people in the border areas to say enough is enough. And that is just one example. The subsequent elections are going to be like that. If this current voters roll remains the voters roll, then you are asking for something because molteson. The other thing that people tend to neglect is that voters roll full le fang soto. Yalo munan nanka fo mole voters roll full le soto. Ya jamme voters roll may use kabrin soja roll in dula jan. How many voters cards were burned?
300,000.
300,000. And near Jibe, margin of victory is always between 200 250,000. Historically, that's been his margin of victory. So, ye political bureau jan. But kabra janita, who voters roll, abijele. Then, barofanang yenyi last voters registration meko, fanamu voters roll it. So you had two voters roll side by side. Nimne left manipulate and you have the intellect to do it, you can manipulate the figures.
Uncle, so the other thing that party leader meant for, obviously, Adianta, Nealongo, is always topical is always there. It's a hot topic, all of corruption or Genko, Jupadi, member in Mansakunda. But Birabe often addressed Langana Adianta Adama recently Adama Baro made executive order Pruka Tamul suspend except statutory meetings for the rest of the year, the next 4 months. Coming Alamanza Kunala Mula Tamul on the party leader Dianta corruption or meaning Peter program or that was the topic.
Yeah.
Corruption. So Uncle Ari, first of all, let's start with executive order. Do you think it's a good thing?
Well, King FM ye nyininkala, Peter Fane nyininkala, Fanam Fele ben nyininkala. Normally, when a country issues a travel ban, they issue it under serious budget constraints. Travel is an essential part of governance.
Yeah.
But if you decide to suspend it, that means you have financial stress issues. So, Ntefe, it's a good idea, and I said I congratulate them for it, but there is a loophole. To say all travel funded by external partners can go ahead, it's excellent because most of these external partners have stringent budget controls in terms of what they spend on travel. But the loopholes are within the statutory meetings. Now, can this government tell us how many statutory meetings that Gambia is supposed to attend? Government for and be malong which meeting is statutory and which is not. Ngalonko General Assembly, Molukatal. Nigeria fele this new president in Nigeria, Yala Emenke. He threw it out and said only a handful of people must go and they must have a direct bearing on the meeting.
Wow.
Now, Gambia, on the other hand, historically, na delegation no buka less than 25.
And you're not the same. Did you see the list that's going? Did you see the list?
I saw it. I'm being cautious in saying it's never less than 25. But tell me, what business does the Gambia have at the United Nations, which should make it send a vice president and 24 other people? Atije, some countries, United States, these are big countries. They have more at stake in the international system than we have. Nim President Obita, Akatale, another chief of staff, 1 or 2 people. The mission at the UN is the mission that services it.
Yeah.
Why can't our mission service our delegation when they go? So travel banning, once you don't tell us what the statutory meetings are, we'll just take it at face value. And the face value of it is that we don't know how that can be manipulated or not manipulated. Maolo.
Yeah,
Congratulations, Kela. It's a limited congratulation.
Yeah. It's a done the act better, but the question better implementation. The act is good, but uncle, Ninata Jibe for Ninata Barola Mansakunda Sobeyala. In the example of settler with this UNGA, because why the minister war a killer? With every ministry, apart from the minister, 2 other delegates. So that means ministry, including the minister, is 3 times 6. Wardama is 18. Vice President Momala and Wolin Jelle with another protocol or with another security. So you're talking of it's going to be way more than 21, 23, 24, CFAL, yeah, I understand. So, near the seriousness be there. But on the example said, but it executive order sign, then the next minute you send about 25 delegates to the UN General Assembly. That's a joke, isn't it?
The issue of what constitutes a statutory meeting has to be clarified to people. Otherwise, we just take it that statutory meetings can be anywhere from ECOWAS to UN to African Union and all of that. And if you don't put limits on the numbers that can go, then you are actually torpedoing your own executive order.
But Uncle, what's your gutted feeling? Do you think that the government probably run out of funds, or is this goodwill from Adam Barrow?
No, it's not. It's anything but goodwill. Yellow Nanko is anything but goodwill.
Yeah.
Na mansakunda man budget discipline sort of.
Yeah.
They never have the budget equation correct and balanced. Every year is a supplementary appropriation, meaning one or twice, in the first quarter and in the second quarter. First quarter, 825 million to complete the Bata Harding Highway. Now, you cannot convince me that you plan a major infrastructure project like that and you underprice it by $825 million. And you have to go to Parliament to ask for a supplementary. So I am saying, unless something else happens, we can expect them to go by October, we can expect them to go for another supplement. Now, all of that is added to the fact that budget discipline months up. And secondly, if the government asks for those supplementary resources, basically the Minister of Finance will sit with the governor of the central bank, they discuss and agree that X amount will be given to you, and then the central bank will issue bonds and treasury bills. It's inflationary.
Yeah.
It's inflationary.
Yeah.
So the issue of whether Kodobije, Kodotije, again, because of their lack of transparency, citizens cannot make up their minds in terms of whether what is being told them is true or not true.
Yeah.
So for me, the transparency probity issue is at the heart of this issue. If the government comes out and says, listen, we need to go on an austere mode because ABCD is happening, I think people will understand. And I think people will support, either morally support or come up with ideas to say you can do ABCDE in order to mitigate this budget shortfall. But the transparency, TJ.
But Uncle,
the issue of telling people exactly the truth, it's also lacking.
Uncle, Yalonte Gambia la cola from time for it can be very frustrating. Because Nika Gambia Kibaro Lamoy. Sometimes it can be very depressing. Being making FM news Lamoy National Audit Report, for million keme, 100 million wale filita, frontline workers. 100 million woman calling Dindi. And today in the same King FM, Keba Nyanko Sane, me along Katelong Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital PRO spokesperson, they was defending Kavo with Geobook, Geobook soto, because more complain they go Lopitano book Geo soto for don't go local killing, but I take all monkey tonyati just a couple of days for hours Geobook soto. But Nina Rajibe, $1 million keme, uncle. Way Philip Banko kan. Kumanke mola. Molbita kan normal. Ni million kemo wa don't mean dollar. What ni government fuika sile ke mira banko fuaro la kololo nyinte bang, uncle.
No, ibukasi ke mira wala seku yalong. It's a rat race going on in this country. Molka mem from bedo kan wala nyinti ni mem man kodo sota adama barola mansa kunda ite kodo soto la kote.
Angole mo ikoko wala. Yes.
Molka wala from bedo kan. Nte ika fole nka moy. Neo moy drong, you know the systems have all collapsed. Because molka mem muta drong wala nyinti ko. If the head of state himself is suspect as far as corruption is concerned, and he's seen to be not taking action on corrupt activities, what conclusion do you leave? The audit reports, I still have them. 8 major cases of audits. One of them up to $2 billion. No investigation was carried out by the police. The investigations that were carried out, you remember Port Authority law units for 600 million filter dam. The police have done their investigations. The auditors have done theirs, the police have done theirs, but they have not been charged. And then security port fund is the same. Airport renovation is the same. Huh? So you have
global fund, million ton. Okay, that is a million ton for Minister of Finance for Nataka later on because global fund you told it.
Yes.
But Hani saying people allegedly involved, DPS, JIT, and others. Yeah, commercial no case about police kara reporting na, but matter nyim fela data. Moboka kumoje and nti wala nanka kamfan na deputy wala kola because uncle dollar ko bala fa watale Gambia kam tel ka man National Assembly soto man parliament soto because kunun ko le electoral kinyanang FPAC, you know, public
finance committee,
yeah, public accounts committee, finance and public accounts committee, FPAC. Yenyi letter also dated 13th of July 2023 to all addressees. Final consultation on COVID-19 audit report. I am directed by the finance and public accounts committee, FPAC, to summon you to a final consultation on phase 2 of the consolidated audit report on the government COVID-19 response. Date 17th of July 2023, 2 p.m. National Assembly Auditorium. The purpose of this engagement is to bring together all relevant stakeholders to finally clarify and or explain any outstanding audit findings and queries affecting their institution. You are all kindly requested to attend the meeting in person with all relevant officials and or information. Jumale Nyensafe Lamin Imani, principal committee club. But uncle, in later also almost a month ago, meeting with me. And I'm sure nothing will come out of this. National Assembly like FPAC, calculator Savola, they lack the cutting edge to try to cook it. And as long as example man said Gambia, uncle, deputy will come you know, this is why people are so annoyed with Ilanian $3.5 million or $2.5 million because even moto nyimal boronila. But banko dingulu tinyaro beke kan banko kan deputy will become more reprimand fembuka ke uncle nyin come forward kal.
Yes, if I was a National Assembly member and I am taking that car, I would assume that this will be my last term in office because Molbe Kamfasi Falani Motola Kuala. You cannot even begin to explain them. Now, Nte, I have always said that it's imperative that they have transportation.
Yeah.
Mamera anybody is suggesting that they shouldn't have a vehicle.
Yeah.
I think what people have a serious issue with is the cost of that vehicle.
Yeah.
And there are cheaper, more economical alternatives to what they bought. Secondly, some of the donor partners, I have done it in Sierra Leone, in Nigeria, in Swaziland, in Zimbabwe. I source vehicles for them from a UN facility in Gibraltar called Gibraltar X-Stock. You can get these same cars there for a fraction of what they have paid for. But Nitata Social Security, ye 16 million, allegedly 16 million euros bondije Purkamotol Sam. And nobody knows what the unit cost of those vehicles are. Dolka for 2 million, Dolka for 3 million.
Yeah.
Now, what is the markup that the supplier has put on that order? Because suppliers kawakele, and if they do it, they do it. It's a normal business practice. It's up to government to say, no, I'm not accepting your markup. And then you go somewhere to source these vehicles. Then I'm issued. Because near some of these vehicles near Nibula for example, na National Assembly member is from Mount Fan. Not at a 3 million or 2 million motor park Mount Fan. Mount Fan manjio soto. Ila health center mang taraje fang ikana kudan ka health center. What 3 million was a health center bill no Mount Fan.
Uncle Mejele can because na NPP la divine dole jaye ay moto park la suo kono mol ba to ni kan online you go moto le fon nyinya ta korba nyi fon da fon
exactly that's my point.
That's really laughable.
That's my point.
Expensive car. So but uncle I know we have made this point on Digital core and everything, but after again corruptional because corruptional Mugambia actually heal it, and as long as but Niajibe lance minister forced to resign Abasanya.
Yes.
For on board Femman Foji Hanisai Marani Vele, he started Ikoya Commandele Akarano report police. But sign no matter what is gonna happen. Probably in matter Fanambe dialogue. But then you saw the appointment of Usman Sow as his replacement. So, Uncle, do you think Ntolo, the opposition, we are doing enough? Because Modol then criticized Kaneko, opposition is not making like Nyanta noise menkela, Nyanta diamo menkela, and the Niko opposition, Manta UDP damal. Because UDP
but let's qualify it. Niko opposition is UDP lemon.
Mainly Katarantolela, but
yeah.
UDP is the biggest opposition party and the most vibrant opposition party right now. But then you also have GDC over there and then the other opposition. So Molba Foka Munana Bukana together work in a collaboration also to have joint press conference like Nilo Adabo Sita Jana, Mama Kande Sijana, Honorable Halifa Salah Sijana, like a joint press conference where we try to talk about these issues. More careful that will add a lot of weight to the issue because Tilimbali Amembe and Bangkok opposition on dollars has stopped now and UDP in dollars has stopped now. But then we can't do it alone. What would you say to that?
I belong to the group that says we can't do it alone.
Yeah.
And I don't like the idea that Ninkuoku Fintita Niko opposition, the inference is UDP. Because ni UDP man diamo, ni UDP man fem for fembukaf. Just take this assets recycling thing and see what between Lamin Mane and I, the kind of work that we did, research to get our fingers on why this thing is going the way it is going. Nintol maoke den natekela. And it's because of vociferousness, our determination to unearth things that we know are not in the public domain. Walatina kodol bekele tekela. Walatina B, in this West Coast interview, I listed the agencies, government entities that are in line to be asset recycled. And it's like all of our strategic assets are going to be recycled or are potential candidates for recycling. Yeah. Now, near the Ngaoke Nko, Alsal Hakilot Nanyum Kumoto. Nali Amoy ko be carry recycle la, Alsafo ko Lari Nene Afojan. Wala Nangawa listodi. Yo, when it comes to the opposition coming together, the downside of all of this is that ni UDP ma wuli kubukake. For UDP wuli. There were several instances me alonko party leader ka initiative ta aka nyulu consult kubukake. So ninku manke walatina we go solo because we have a better stake than them. If the stakes were equal, they would meet us halfway. But I have to say, recently, Mama Kande has been very proactive on these issues. And, call a spade a spade. If he's proactive, we need to agree that he's proactive. And we encourage him to continue to be proactive. And we recognize that he's proactive. Now, Ikao committee member, National Assembly committee member, There was a chairman of that committee who sat on audit reports for 5 years. Those audit reports did not see the light of day. So how can you hold anybody accountable when you don't even want to release public documents for public scrutiny?
That is okay. That is absolutely disastrous on his part. Former FPAC chairman Morning, I think did disservice to Gambia in terms of that. But Uncle, apply but Jabang, just to piggyback on the point that I said earlier, apply Jabang Kosiku. Don't you think the opposition is not taking on this government as expected? He's asking a question. Yes, let's say UDP, as we are the main opposition party in the country. For him, that's my disappointment with my party. Coming, I disappointed with UDP that we are not taking on borrow enough at Elajero to come in Yanta, a lot of aggressive, more in a violent way, but just to be aggressive in terms of to scrutinize this government. Are we doing that enough, Uncle Larry?
But what does he call my going to social media, my going to West Coast Radio, going to King FM to talk about these things? So we have to go out on the streets every day.
I think more dole come for. Yes, when we need UDP we come out big. But then I think in terms of the frequency, like they all can mail a domain, so they can go for 1 or 2 months with all these major issues happening. You look at major statement. Of course, the party militants and supporters online will get us and you going to the West Coast, but it can mean for in terms of party and like I think they want to see the vibrancy, like coming like a instant reaction to Malamfo, that's what apply means. But Mojamaka for Patioka to daily, like Kujama, even this global fund 10 million, when it happened. With all these audit reports or whatever, people are saying that the party should make a press conference and address these issues. Maybe some of those issues were more focal.
Yes, Yalong Seku. Let us be realistic with what our capabilities can be. When it comes to corruption, Pati buka diamu UDP. At all levels. Hani grassroots, at the grassroots level, our committees are always talking about corruption. Now, to say we are not proactive enough, fine. Maybe to Mr. Jabang, we are not proactive enough. But how much is proactive enough? How much? Because isi men no, wala issue na kanyang global fund ni men fote. Some of us actually took it up. The party leader was seized on it, and a statement was issued. Now, for the Ninkuoku Fintita, UDP Nyantafang organized to go in the streets to demonstrate. Is that what people are expecting us to do? Because if that's what they are expecting us to do, it's impractical.
Yeah.
What is practical is what we are doing. But if we don't have the other opposition parties together to do it as a unit, then we go ahead and do it as a unit. Walati na molmembe fata nying banko kan kabriya jamela kudeta 94. Kana fo abotaje wato men. Momembe fata during Barrow's time, many alongo, they were victims of Jaya Jammeh's brutality. They are all UDP. Korhera pati kilimo eketala mol muteke bute be fala dro.
Yeah.
Anwo molka fokal, you are not doing enough. What is enough?
I think he went on further to clarify. What I meant is the party to come up with press conference or press statement or press conference.
I am reading it.
Yeah, major happenings in this government. I applaud Larry, Mane, and few executive members. Yeah, thank you. So, ngamera mulfan dolka ko press conference or what will ko jam for like the UDP press conference, the press conference it can go a couple of months and there's silence, and that's where the criticism is coming from. You think that's a fair criticism, Uncle?
I think it is. Let us do some serious self-introspection to say, if our memberships are clamoring for um, press conferences as issues emerge,
Yeah.
we should adjust ourselves to that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
we should adjust ourselves to that. But yeah, this 27th year anniversary. Ntol tata party leader na kachat. Press conference on some of the issues that are on the horizon for the country. He was the one who came up with a press conference to mark our 27th anniversary.
Brilliant.
But I agree, I will make a commitment to say, from time to time, depending on the issue, when I talk about certain issues and I see what the public reaction is going to be, this is a mall organized no ngata party leader and a press conference.
Ano uncle don't remember focus. Ko amanke ko press conference phone. Every press conference, like Osino Dabo should be there. Like UDP we have got a very good team around the party leader. Like yourself, Dr. Mane, let's say an example of the correct with Lawyer Kumbajaite or Sabali just can come and address a press conference and just say that. Not necessarily because party leader cannot be doing all
They
this press.
cannot be everywhere.
Yeah, he cannot be everywhere, and we have to be fair to him. So Bodo Bafokan, sometimes, the top echelon of the party, the officials should just come out, and then there are issues, Yali media commanding, and I think this is maybe the party is listening, the executive listening, the party leader is listening. Maybe take this as fair comment from the supporters. Coming Kavogo, we want to see more vibrancy. Obviously, the party is doing a lot already. We applaud that. But Uncle saying just unless if you have something to add.
Let us address that a little bit. Yalong Nimantara, if you are not privy to processes, you cannot be affair with how they eventually play out. Yalong, this is the third time Tebe Apiala on West Coast.
Yeah.
Aning King FM. Lamin Fanan, the same thing, West Coast, aning Membe Caring.
Yeah.
But Nyuluka party leader le invite, party leader le ka for Nyalta. He has decentralized that. Maybe what people want is to say akanake koto usenu damanti. But in Safo Eko, honestly, Hani Peter made a comment to that effect to say, Ninga party member dol kumandi, it's difficult to get them. Ninga usenu kumandi, afamo bukana akala AIDS nyoleki.
Yeah.
And I think that is that we need to applaud that. Secondly, for some of us, akonyeko ni al kumandi, because you are building relationships. Ni al kumandi, alkana permission to go and talk publicly, because we represent an institution. We shouldn't be going out there to just talk. So Ntolu, our natural India, being professionals, we know there is a structure. Near invitation can go fine.
Yeah.
It's not necessary. So it is happening. But more laughter memfanana, I think it strikes at the heart of what some people are calling UDP needs to reform. But more malonko UDP is reforming 80% by now, because anybody who looks at UDP just in 2023, 2022, you know that a metamorphosis is taking place.
Absolutely.
UDP has become more proactive. It has become more open. It has become more solid in terms of its policy proposals. And it has become much more solid and vociferous on corruption, on malgovernance, malfeasance. So UDP never was like that. So in Kanakoronto, we are going to do it. I think the structure that should actually be looked at in terms of this overall reform within the party is the linkage between the party spokesperson and the communications committee.
Yeah.
Ninga auto sort of right or wrong, we can actually respond in real time. Because I believe in responding in real time. Sometimes Molka Fonyeleko that's not possible, but I believe it is possible.
Yeah.
To respond in real time. And the best way to respond in real time is to stay up, like Lare Sisay does, up to 1, 2 in the morning. Mbuka song kuyen na.
No, uncle, you're always on top of things. You don't get a cool follow. You are
Yes.
always up to date, and you're always you get. That's why I think you are always. I got you got cool normally back in Fanang. I think that's like the word you used today. Tenaciously, tenaciously. I think
Yep.
Peter liked that word.
He picked it up. we have to be tenacious
Tenaciously,
in the way
relentlessly.
we
Yeah,
engage, and we have to
yeah,
be relentless in
yeah.
our tenacity.
In your tenacity, in our tenacity. That's good. Uncle, even to be honest, I have to say this. And UDP goal, I think we have to be, we should be extremely proud of ourselves. Like 27 years on, the whole Catalan, UDP does
I think
tremendous
so.
improvement in
I
many
think so.
areas. Because
Mm.
one critic found a bit on a private conversation.
Mhm.
I have seen a lot of improvement, even Molka UDP, Fenkenyaming, social media for UDP. Yale can to be done on Molka, Nendiro, whatever,
Yeah.
you know. Definitely, I've seen a lot of things UDP saying, Allah Moldanyang social media. Tell us, Jeroto, what have you guys done? You must have done a lot. There's a lot of improvement in the party, even on social media, UDP, Kenyaming, and prior to that. Well, it's good that you have said that, but we've always been like that. The problem is, aliye molu ni stigma like on us, like kavoko UDP ka nyineke because Barona la mol they were just they were just flowing with that, and then I told Fana water. But I think definitely there's a lot of improvement on UDP, and with this approach, if you get it right, 2026 will be UDP. Like, yeah, definitely. Amario from Yankako, well, hopefully. But uncle, let's go to the media because
No, on that one, that person is a good observer, because
yeah.
jama saying
Mm-hmm.
nintata nyim public functional to molka fonyeleko, you guys represent the new face of UDP, the new UDP. But we don't represent the face of the new UDP. We represent the face of UDP.
Yes.
What they are failing to realize is that we have grown. 27 years is a long time.
Yeah.
We have grown, we have become more savvy, we have become more strategic, and we have become more circumspect.
Yeah.
So,
Dudu Jawane also made a comment here. Secondly, people have to know that the UDP can only speak when it has credible facts. The party's credibility is compromised when it speaks on half-baked information. For me, I think they are doing well. Thank you so much, Honorable, for bringing that perspective, because
he is spot
the
on
party
that
cannot
one.
be like Sehu Sedili or somebody on social media. The party like executive, they have to do due diligence. We do due diligence, but the party should do it more than us because they don't want to put the country's the party's credibility in.
Yalong, if we jump at every issue, aka keba kung fendile.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Andung keba kung kuliatala puru ka kung fendi. So nimbe diamula niajenka impact soto is because we do research. Ninga for what kind of research went on this asset recycling? You won't believe it.
Yeah.
Now research.
Mina asset recycling. Number of media will go to asset recycling. In fact, what I declare next topic or the media, because the party leader from there, but now the honorable for the drama I don't know whether that's practicable in Gambia current situation today. Kavoko, he think that UDP should try to have a radio station in the country to educate our party militants and try to, by extension, the general citizenry about policies and programs. You think Barola government will give us license to have a radio station when they can even allow GRPS to cover events?
Why not? we have a right to own a radio station.
We do.
If we can afford it. But UDP radio equipment totally. It's just a question of how do you organize yourself into a platform like a radio station.
Yeah.
And I think ngamen for earlier on, the gelling between the communications team and the party leader or spokesperson, when those things gel, this is the kind of infusion you will get.
Yeah.
Now, until that happens, we have platforms to go to. Coming now for Peter Enyame, a party like UDP in a press conference, there was no government coverage of it.
Wallahi, more understand.
No government coverage. But that didn't stop us. Imagine Niwe Diamond, Ninking FM Diamond, New West Coast Diamond. The mission is accomplished, Sheikh.
But Uncle, Yalong Mukanyine understand the lackadaisical nature of our MPs, and this time I'm going to be specific na UDP MPs. I don't know whether any of them has raised this because Peter Yavala program totally. I think the former managing director general of GRTS, Yavala, I think they received an instruction
from the director general, yes.
Munati Nandola Deputy okay, my minister question all. Has the minister been questioned on that? The Minister of Information? Because what is completely wrong? GRTS is for every Gambian taxpayers' money. It's not for NPP. So Ning Director General Fanga Afoko, they receive an instruction. Murananda MP should more follow up National Assembly. MP
Inyanta follow up lale. But Inyanta alone nale fananko. That is a carry over from Yaya Jammeh's time. Yaya Jammeh's time, ika GRTS jeka opposition kuleta man. Peter Enyimem for the Director General giving an instruction. That is vintage Yaya Jammeh. Now, if Barrow is doing that, what do we say?
But same on Barrow, because Barrow came.
Not just same on him, but it's a carryover from a dictatorship.
Yeah, because Barrow le lota jang ako utumo social media, la tebuka fono social media, ako social media, ako wolle kantola kibarolu janjang. Sign ninga tela man sekunda fonka UDP busawo yarola. What haramadi modal mobuki mira kunu kuma kanwala. And Barrow phone nyanta alamansikuna nyanta malla wala. And look at the likes, Melbourne in cabinet. Most of them some of them were in the struggle. So today, but in the Uncle Tengamira, I think that notwithstanding Alongo, it is a knock-on effect from Barrow Ayajamela time. Yeah. But then I think that Nyanta will a parliamentary question or the spot. The purpose of the change, along good governance and stuff. So I'll take Jamie style or Samalananya. Kafo GRTS opposition all of but that needs to stop, Uncle. That needs to stop.
Yalong Seku, we have National Assembly members. Yes, the party supported them to stand and they won. The party worked for them to win. But honestly, the onus is on them to be proactive, to be addressing these national issues. And on several occasions, party leader Ka Foleko, we have experience and assets within the party. Use them to assist you to perform your functions properly. But we have to also realize that these are also individuals. Now, if they decide to behave like individuals rather than an individual that belongs to an organization, you cannot do a whole lot about that.
Yeah.
And I think that is what we are facing. But I think also they also know that people are watching them. To see what they do with certain things. And I think they also know that there is political jeopardy when it comes to their inaction. So I think I will stop there and say the expectation is that they will be proactive, and I expect them to be proactive.
Yala Uncle, some of this from common sense approach. I told you guys are doing well. You are in the Kacha retreat shot on here and there. But then some of them Nimu Tipita just common sense on it. Ite Director General Diamda, Ako, your order ko opposition or GRTS. GRTS me along Gambia Radio and Television, IMAFO NPP Radio and Television Services. Taxpayers all like finance, ka fund. So ite mu député yo moy wonyanta kele next parliamentary question. We have about 15 MPs in that National Assembly with one independent.
Yeah.
So ningatara député kliye nyininka, I do apologize. Aseka kliya nyininka le mamoy, but ningatal man nyininka, that's a colossal failure on the part of all MPs, not a monkey. So that's why I'm going to put a caveat around this, because maybe député kliya nyininka le ndolma kalamuta. So
yeah, it's very possible.
It's possible ya nyininga, so we don't want to be a boy kang, but ningata député na nyininga. But uncle, staying with the media, ngaje ko idiamda any pidala diamodo, you lamented on Purala or trying to intimidate King FM, Su Radio and that. But Emandiamo Kerfatu la kola ngabe man inyana jela Kerfatu, you got the chief of staff.
Manina. Peter kumo maninkol ka fo ma kumo chance da kono.
Badu.
Mam parenu. Because ntemam pura for. My phraseology was when a regulatory agency threatens news media platforms, that should be a cause of concern for average people. Atele pura natije. Ndema pura for. But I think that they got the message. The public outcry, even some of the donor representatives in the country were taken aback by what Pura has done.
Yeah.
And what Pura has done is to actually cross the line between being a strong independent institution to becoming a political activist. Pura does not have that, how do you call it, that mandate. If people in Pura want to be engaged in politics, by all means they should, but they should resign their positions in Pura and actively engage in politics. But then again, it all falls back to the carryover effects of Yahya Jammeh. We have people who are overzealous in trying to prove that they support the government.
Yeah.
And in so doing, they belittle themselves because everybody is going to see this guy is just making a mess of himself.
Yeah.
Now, that Yahya Jammeh effect is what is carried over in some of these. Well, Nanko, UDP la in document, the Gambia we want to build. We have strong plans in there for creating some of the strongest, most independent institutions any country can have. Because that's what we need. We need strong institutions, not strong individuals.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Pura allow action to write to these platforms, including Kerfatu, and the head of Pura, apparently I was told today after my interview with Westcoast, the head of Pura actually went to a public radio station also to talk politics. So when you cross that line, you lose.
Yusuf Ajo.
Yes.
Wow. But Uncle, for my Yusuf Ajo found, did you hear what Malagan wrote about Yusuf Ajo? He was an international staff somewhere and was found to be corrupt, proven beyond reason, and he was fired from that job. Man for EU somewhere, what international?
No, it's the Pan-African Parliament.
Pan-African Parliament. So, and again, such a person heading our organization with no questions from the National Assembly. Let's move on. Because the level of disappointment are from this 6th legislature. You cannot have somebody heading an organization, a parastatal, somebody has a proven track record of corruption at the international level. Mansakunda na appoint deputy de city nyakasi. Deputy na vale. Wala na ningeje be mulu fala ni safari bala social media. I don't even bother because that is unacceptable. Yusuf Job should not be Director General of Pura. That should be questioned, even though Alman Power should appoint. But Allah Kumandi, you bring the facts. Why would you appoint somebody with a proven track record of corruption international level? You understand?
No, but Sekou, you are missing the point. This is not UK, it's not the US, this is the Gambia.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these people ride on the backs of groups and groups of people.
Yeah.
You have to go back to the period this individual was appointed.
Yeah.
Who the appointing authority was, for you to understand why he's behaving the way he's behaving. By the way, Nga Yusufa Joblone very well. He worked under me at the African Capacity Building Foundation in Harare. I was chairman of the executive board of the African Capacity Building Foundation. And I restructured that organization. It was failing. I restructured it, brought it back, and that restructuring process was when we hired Yusufa Job. Abota Woleto, when I left the scene in both the African Capacity Building Foundation and na UNDP Fonko Tambantayen Samba Botswana. When I left immediately after that, he also left at other Pan-African Parliament. So and I also am a firm believer in saying Nimkwodol Ketela, there should be a source of self-introspection. Ye fan jibe, ye fan enquete, you modify your behavior accordingly. Wala ne kafo you learn life's lessons from those parts. Natako, the situation Malagan has described, he went through that. Then he hasn't learned anything.
Yeah, he hasn't. And certainly, being Malagani Osafe, Najako is a libelous publication. He would have actually taken some legal action against the newspaper, but he did not say a word. And Kabinda was published or whatever, he kept quiet. And but now Mamborella timely appointing, you know, you scratch my back, scratch your no being a Mamborella record on it.
No, but yalong Malagan law article. You know where their source was? They went to the Pan-African Parliament's website, and the document, the audit report was there.
So
you cannot refute that.
Yeah, it's irrefutable. Yeah.
And if you go to court, you are wasting your money.
Yeah, he wouldn't even go to court. But again, let's go back. Your media, Mayan Jahali. And I think party leader did make this point, and he specifically spoke about Kerfatu. Because men disappointed the chief of staff. I don't know whether that guy is even competent to be chief of staff, because Malam Vela interview like Fatu Tureko, he constantly referring to Fatu as he instead of she. That is
does he know the difference between masculine and
well, it may sound that way, because if it was a slip of the tongue, I don't know, I have seen it was a slip of the tongue, but then he kept referring to Fatou Touré as a he. Fatou Touré was lady. So, but then, Kaji Kokiko staff Kafoko, on Britain ground to come opposition of the new G wallet. And that validates Fatou Touré assertion.
Exactly.
Nunoka boycott contract or and something, because this is chief of staff very close to Adababoro. So, Uncle, Ning is scary. Ning, the media is being maligned. Kafoko. For is it a crime? Kuru Fatou Touré or anybody media, in the West, the media house so be a party dole support, a policy promote or whatever. So for more crime,
no, it is not. But it's let's look at it from the perspective of their need to be liked by everybody. Because for me, this transcends Fatou Touré, transcends Kerfat.
Yes.
What it shows is that anybody who differs with them, you are the enemy. You are the enemy of progress. If you support them, you are fine. No matter how corrupt or transparent. If you support them, you are okay. Walana party leader are raised. It's frightening in the sense that when you tout yourself as a democratically elected government, you don't go out to silence your critics.
Yeah.
You don't go out to invite your critics to come to the police station for questioning.
Yeah,
Yes, and others. You don't, as a democratic country, you don't do those things.
Yeah.
If you do them, you shoot yourself in the foot. So that it be more invite la to come for questioning. It be castigate la for not supporting him. What they don't realize is that this is politics. Everybody cannot be in the same basket. We have differences of views, differences of opinions, differences of approaches. I think what is important is to try to bring this together for the best interest of the country. But Yalom, I said it in Peter's, in my interview today, to say this idea of winner takes all is destroying our country's electoral process. Because people are not willing to sit, talk, and say, let's forget about our personal ambitions, our personal interests, and focus on the national interest. When you do that, you lose your affiliation. And when you lose your affiliation, you become much more circumspect in terms of working for the country.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Mao Soto during Yahya Jammeh's time, Mao Soto during Barola time. Jawaharlal time, he had included all these people in some of his cabinet appointments. But we've lost that. Now we are in a situation where the rat race for power is on. It's I win and I take all. And I said to Peter, people behave like that because they equate political power with money. If I get into politics, I win, I'm going to make money. Or as far as the civil service is concerned, you support a particular political party, that political party wins, you get a big appointment. The idea is to make as much money for yourself as possible. So politics is equated with money, resource extraction. When you take that resource extraction out of it and you supplant it with the national interest, you have a different cup of tea. And our people don't get that.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Walatina corruption siata nyimbankoka because molka nyine mutako ndunta nyinkono la purka kodo soto. Nimbota je manko do soto nta soto la kote. But they never look at it from the point of view of fuareol la kodo ibe wole takan. Fuareol nyanta may use la ka health centers nyolo, ka lopitanol lo, ka boholol lo, so they have basic rights like right to clean water.
Yeah.
That is what you are denying people with. Ita amerete killing si wala kodo do ma what. Maybe ntela believe them kudankol, but ntol fe mobe kodo ni kilio do ma buke what.
Of course, Uncle. Uncle, we have a lot of ground to cover. And I'm left lines from a so 3 major topics media mali. So Uncle, in clear terms, governing UDP Mansekonda, we will not see a replica of what is happening now, where the media will be muzzled out just on the basis of support. So commending menketa barobe menkekan clearly UDP Mansekonda okala. Coming can medial mutake censor, can medial deny contract or kafu media, because there's one media house here. I don't want to name the media house. They are going around reportedly, maybe African UDP Nata, and told him Alkana for UDP. It is something talking about clearly. What a killer UDP agenda?
Yes, but ima UDP long ite seku. Near UDP long, ibalon nako UDP is a social democratic party. We subscribe to the principles of democracy, the principles of respect for the rule of law, and the principle of equality under the law. Ni UDP government nata. None of this nonsense you are seeing muzzling the media and doing all sorts of things is going to happen. Atekela. Because we manke party la tradition. Yala mol buka meng understand. And I always make this point. And in a small group. Mol buka meng understand. If you go through the kind of traumatic experience that UDP went through, you cannot then turn around and traumatize other people. It's counterintuitive for you to do that. So they don't have anything to say against us.
Yeah.
Because Mbuke attack, they say a lot of nasty things about UDP, about our elders and all of that.
Yeah.
But in Mbuka Femfo, it's their right to free speech.
Yeah.
Even though we say Ntolu, as an organization, we have boundaries that we are not going to cross.
Yeah.
And that is manifesting itself in terms of saying kodol vigente okela because ngamfansi and the water.
Yeah.
Ika nyimbe for ni UDP nata they will stifle us, muzzle us. No. What Ibrahim Sisay ma audio fintinda ko mantale benta natra nunko loadabo winta bembe soron. Fama wala.
Ibrahim Sisay, who is now the ambassador to Russia.
Russia. Fama wala. Koto useni ya jabi munala di gunjur rally ko nte usenu UDP ntol buka mo soron luale ke soron luate soron na nima luatinya. I mean, what more can anybody say? UDP te mo soron na UDP buka mo soron nie luatinya e samba luat luale be mutala. Luale be soron daro manke UDP
Abaraga Uncle Lare, so science that economy yinkan UDP la party leader diamo building New Gambia me alonko imo policy me alonko amalgamation infusion of the 5-point agenda and the manifesto.
Yep.
You brought them together. Is it ye jabaka sepa moli domani because it am done angele kamola in coffee show and in Jamaica local languages for so new building New Gambia me alonko ni na 5-point agenda even though gaje komodo teski made a very false allegation kafoko UDP took that from the
NDP,
which is not true. So msebula diaminin bla jabaka seta moli word demanding janim bita asset recycling without no asset recycling.
What we have done after the presidential election, we did a post-mortem. And our regional chairmen were involved in that post-mortem. It was through that post-mortem that the idea came in mind to say, let us try to do a fusion of the 5-point agenda and the manifesto into a synthesis plan that can lay the groundwork for taking the Gambia from a least developed country to a middle-income country, to an upper middle-income country, and then to a small developed country. Nga plan walenya. And the ad hoc group was formed. I led the group, and we prepared that document. Wallahi, alibatu haniwo document finti. You know, it's a fusion of what made Singapore what Singapore is, South Korea what South Korea is, and to a certain extent, Ghana la infrastructure fana. But we are saying, unlike the NPP, our focus is not going to be just on infrastructure. Because when you focus on infrastructure, you are negating agriculture, and hunger comes in. You are negating education. Your children don't get a better education, and you are negating the health sector. So we are saying agriculture, education, health, infrastructure should be given equal priority in terms of resource allocation. But we have to have a series of policy dimensions that we propose. And the core of that policy dimension is to create a society where freedom can actually be freedom. Where if you are responsible, you say things, you shouldn't go to sleep thinking somebody is going to invite you to a police station. Where the police will actually do the business of policing at the community level rather than following politicians and calling them to task. Where the National Army is going to be a Republican National Army, and their primary job is to make sure that our national security and safety and our sovereignty is guaranteed. And you have institutions that are independent with strong people in them that can be fiercely independent in applying their mandates. We want a situation where the Singapore type comes to play, where you can be heading such an institution and you can be doing your job without repercussions. In Botswana, I took a team to Singapore from the Botswana Public Service College, near Samba to Singapore's Public Service College. You know, Seku, you have people in that public service college, ni la mansa kundamuta, ni a criticize kasila. Barikubuka kela, because that is their right, that is their view. And the society is tolerant enough to say, yes, this one is telling us what he wants to tell us, and they respect it. So, Niesamba nga Botswana Public Service College ning Singapore Public Service College twin nga contractor sign to lekela Singapore lecturers nyol joy kana Botswana because it would be cheaper to do that than to take people all the way to Singapore. So now idea si fale soto kafoko we can actually feed ourselves through agriculture. Nenim party leader be diamola he went to Kaur Concord dole biji ni lota o Concord na nyamina faroli ke beleje yalon Kaur ni nyamina jareng they are just perpendicular to each other kodi ni lota o Concord kay ka farol jibele fokuntaw. And he says, you know, we have all these resources, fresh water, enough arable land. We can feed ourselves in 2-3 years if we invest properly in agriculture. Now, if you put that, juxtapose that to what is now happening, ntoldolle ka masimulu luasi na mbamanyoli anin sisters nyol. Government buka masim di mola kotek. Even if you have the money, you have to come up with something like $100,000 is for you to hire a machine. Jumala be afford nola all the time. So we are going to give priority to agriculture, to health, to education, and then infrastructure. And of course, we have to also be modern in our outlook. We are saying ICT is a global phenomenon. And we need to leverage ICT for us to be able to do our agriculture, our health, our education, and our infrastructure. So nga wale thinking nga keep blueprint. It's just about 20 pages or less. But it is very clear in terms of its policy orientation for each of these sectors. Very, very clear. Nyanta menukela to make sure that that sector takes off immediately. Because we are talking about a situation where there are low-hanging fruits around in all these sectors that you can plug and feed them into your development metrics, and the sector takes off.
Okay, good. So, Uncle, need an assessment of Gambia's current economic situation, economy benyani, where finance minister is right now is they are virtually on this asset mortgaging or asset recycling.
Asset recycling.
yeah, you lamented on what is happening at the ports. They have signed a contract with one, I think it's a Swiss-based company, just like similar to Africa 50. Wolfen and they will be looking at the accounts, and there's a Gantel, a trade gateway, and all these things. Imo funti in the social space that's more kachabake, just like the asset recycling. But then I think CD Keita, what do you make of his moves, particularly on this asset recycling, Uncle?
I don't think they had the asset recycling thing well thought out. Because near well thought out, I don't think asset recycling by itself is a bad thing.
Yeah.
But you don't asset recycle your strategic assets. And this is where we have a serious difference with them. That bridge is a strategic asset. Port authority is a strategic asset. Ferry services is a strategic asset. If you take the example of Australia, there is no country that has done asset recycling more than Australia. But Australia asset recycling, they have a cycle where when they recycle an asset, they do a thorough review of why we should asset recycle it, how long we should asset recycle it, how much we should asset recycle it, and what do we get in return for what we are doing. They never give anybody authority over their national asset.
Ano ala duration buko wara
Yes.
fanamba.
Ala duration buka jamfa.
Yeah.
And this is what I was making to Peter today. And then what the Australians also do is to have a robust M&E reporting system where they will go and say, we assess this thing, these are the issues that are coming up, we need to refocus. We need to re-strategize. But if you look at their final Funko, Australia is now getting out of asset recycling. But if you look at their final M&E report, you realize that they are basically saying the disadvantages far outweigh the advantages in asset recycling. And so therefore, that's why they are scaling back. A cumulative body of knowledge suggests that there are more serious disadvantages than advantages in asset recycling. And why not? Because Port Authority Jibe, CD when he was trade minister, Fatalema Foko, having our goods land in Dakar and bringing them here is better for our economy.
I think that statement will haunt people forever. Allow statement.
Forever. Because it doesn't make economic sense. You have a port in Banjul that used to be the cheapest port in West Africa, and it is destroyed. It's become dysfunctional. And Dakar used to depend on us. Now we depend on Dakar. And you say that's good for us. It's not.
I don't know what went into his head when Sidi Keita made that pronouncement. And in fact, even an economic student at Muslim high school would not even utter that word. It's just laughable. Bringing Sidi Keita over. And then, on the problem with Gambian government officials, up to today, Sidi hasn't apologized to the Gambian people because if you misspoke, you come from me along, if on la along, you uncle. For a public official will apology, Uncle Larry. There's nothing wrong. We have seen in the West, prime ministers, presidents, even COVID and the prime minister made a lot of apologies. The other Germany, like former chancellor, one time she made a blunder and then she went and apologized to the Germans for her mistake. So, but you have seen ministers, the Sidi Keita misspoke up to this minute. No single apology from Sidi Keita. Because there's nothing wrong. I misspoke. And then Gambians can forgive him. But from Barrow, all his ministers, they don't come to the Gambian people. And Wolananka come for the hypocrisy on social media. You remember last week I don't want to go back to that topic, when I gave an information that eventually was wrong. I apologize. And there are people who went off my throat saying that I should apologize. But why they don't hold the public officials from Barrow, his ministers? Uncle, the apology.
The difference is you are UDP, the others are not.
I think you are right. So they have a different barometer. None of UDP. So
Yes.
Baron and Moore, they can come up with all this kind of misleading information and even lie to the Gambian people. But then we have these people on social media, they will let that pass. But then UDP inquiry get wrong is a taboo, right? So, but Maurus and Sidiketala definitely. So, but speaking of this asset
No,
recycling, Uncle, you
but
made something.
coming back to the issue of apologies.
Yeah.
Yalong, it only professionals apologize for mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Non-professionals don't apologize for mistakes.
You're right. You're right.
The second thing is Niaje Buka apology ke. It's because they are functioning in a system that has no consequence management in it.
Yeah.
If you are functioning in a system with consequence management, robust consequence management, even you will be careful.
Yeah.
But if there is no consequence management, it's a free for all. Now,
Yeah,
Jawara time, if you recall, Sirif Dibala brother was caught
yeah.
with Tues.
Yes.
He resigned on principle.
Yeah. The legislative
Several other people resigned on principle. All of those principles went out the window in 1994.
Yeah.
Now, a situation sort of where the president does everything, those who are his surrogates do everything, and there are no consequences. Will carry over that. I mean, the sad thing about our situation now is that the only difference we have with Yahya Jammeh is that the head is not there anymore.
Yeah.
But Yahya Jammeh's framework is there. And what is Yahya Jammeh's framework?
Yeah.
It's the 1997 Constitution.
It's like the invisible hand of Jammeh running the government.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the 1997 Constitution. And this is why the party leader kept saying, we want the March 2020 Constitution back, untouched, unedited.
Yeah.
Let us debate it and take it forward. Because it's showing everybody that this 1997 Constitution is just being used by a certain sector of our society for their own political interests. Certain people leading certain institutions in this country have no business being in those positions.
Absolutely.
If we are doing it right. These are people who stood up and said, no, Barote Kalilaja. These are people who introduced legislation which would have usurped Barrow's win.
Yeah.
But those are the ones that are in power today.
Yeah.
So Mosa expect will be apology ni Bulanda.
But Uncle, some of those people, the likes of Sidi Njai and all that, New World Market, one can understand. World, that's how they survive. They have no skills. They are not talents. Taylor, World Cup Balu, like a dogo nyaton gold norma. They want to survive. That's their way of surviving. But somebody like Sidi Keita with all this, all these academic qualifications he has, neither Sidi la CV Gibe. Like you said, he should be professional enough, because even this idea of not taking this to the National Assembly, a lot of people say the party leader reference to that, Anyanta was somebody deputy Bumuroli, right? He's a constitutional lawyer. Sidi Kedadavola, he understands the constitution more than the UDP leader. And even Doyle Nyaton Governor Honorable Halifa Saleh said, I meant it was wrong, he should have taken that. So Sidi, all these leaders came and said, what Sidi Keda? And why can't he come out and apologize? Said, I violated the constitution and even resigned. But not that he resigned, but the least we expect from him is to own up to his mistake.
Resignation is out of the question. Giving a public apology is out of the question. Now,
and he is not a professional. He's not a professional, Uncle.
Yeah, that's arguable, but at a fair, this is it. Now, party leader Kukilin Fintin. And basically he was saying Section 79 of the 1997 Constitution clearly stipulates that all agreements and treaties must be tabled in the National Assembly for debate, ratification, and or rejection. Section 97. So Sidi Tafolako, that section doesn't exist. Now, I said something which is in line with this. In most countries, When you want to do asset recycling, under any circumstance, you have to have a public-private partnership act on the books. That is the act that draws the parameters for your action and your behavior. I have done a lot of research in this area in our country. I have not come across any legislation which clearly stipulates how PPPs are handled in our country. So if you do that, you don't respect Section 79, you don't have a PPP Act, on what basis are you acting?
But Uncle, the government has a legal advisor in the person of the Attorney General and the Minister of Justice. Could we say possibly did Siddiqui consult him? Because did this actually elude, Dauda Jallo in terms of giving legal advice to say, before you go ahead with this, you should take it to the National Assembly? Because that's Wamala's job letter to give legal advice to the ministers. So what happened? This government is like they're running helter-skelter. They're all over the place. They are disoriented. They are disorganized. The dysfunctionality in the government is out to see because Imalo waratale minister kataka kuoke kafo minister maluwa noma, but you have the Attorney General, Minister of Justice me alongo wala job to advise as ministers.
Seku nte kodol biye mbukefo yalo mena kodol biye mbukefo manikol kafo me wol siatan datile.
No, but malo waratale because
of course
today
malo waratale.
Ndebe platform in terms of the constitution, the law. What I do, I call Melvin Roberts, he's a lawyer, or Joy Goswell, a UDP lawyer. Sometimes the man, lawyer come this in Gambia, but I know Melvin is here, Joy Goswell is the uncle lawyer following. I used to have lawyer Dabo. I don't just come to Bantaba because the bank loyalty. So sometimes I will do due diligence, loyal opinion seek on something before I just come and talk.
Before you act.
Exactly. I think I made a common sense dictates. It will finance minister. You have a minister, me along go Luala. Then you cool and Jenny Bitala Diamla media to defend yourself because about fun defend can come on Luatina. You understand it? And up to now, Dawajalo is quiet. I
and people shouldn't expect Dauda to say anything publicly about what is going on. Seku, alinga nyoji bebang in a very realistic way. Now, some of the people that are leading us in these cabinet ministries, which country on the face of the earth will appoint these kinds of people in those kinds of positions?
It's only Barrow. It's only Barrow.
Exactly. So, the leader is a mirror image of the people he leads. But the people that you are leading are also a mirror image of the leader that is leading them. Because you would expect somebody like Peter, not Peter, Siddiqui to know better, to say there is a legislative framework. You cannot just sit and say, Nadia Tanyenta Sambala Parliament because it's not required. Of course it is required. Hello, Section 79 BJL. Ani kanyin phone call member sign with Senegal. Ite amoye Jumala Samba National Assembly for debate. Ibuka Fen Samba National Assembly for debate. They just sign these agreements and life continues. It's sad. It's a sad situation for the country because we can do better with the kind of intellectual muscle that we have. We can do better.
Yeah. But if you are an intellectual and you are honest, like Uncle Lare Sisay, Barrow would not. Barrow title Sivalu, and I don't think you can even work with Barrow because Barrow kala female and you more Sivalu, Malialanko, Cartludian and the Kumul fire, it okela, it be Tonyale for life, and that's what we expect. And this is why UDP we are different. na tonya fo nyoe patula na ta banku do kula man nyonya kono jibe ka ngoma nyola. But Baro, unfortunately, I don't know, he has already messed up. So ngamera nyong kanya betala telephone na boy in the election ola then I tell. But uncle, on a final note, mfambe programu mbe topic o mala uncle off idi pita ya kacha. I know you cannot speak on behalf of the party. Your party leader did not reference ongoing situation in Niger and also tying that to context. Because party leader was asked this question during the press conference. Allegedly, UDP called Lebe Talaka protest Kekafu Barola no Tatam. And I think the UDP leader really answered that perfectly. So Barola you know to Tatam. If you want to try to connect it to this situation in Niger and you reference the institutional coup d'etat try. What do you think the scenario is Gambia? Because here we are, Mome Alonko, he came ko Sanji Saba. He made a promise. So, I like it already, even though constitutionally he had got a 5-year mandate. But then now he is eyeing for 15 years, 20 years. Now the supporters almost they are 2035.
Yeah.
Uncle, this is crazy. What do you think? This is why ECOWAS doesn't have respect right now because, like the military junta you meant for a wall in actual man moral authorities don't tell us anything.
Yeah.
Look at yourselves. One legitimacy is they don't. But Uncle, in a situation of in Gambia, you think we may or we may not be in this quagmire, like the sort of predicament that other countries are in, because Barrow going for third time. And I don't think morally he should go. Like party leader, for legally he has the constitutional, the constitution.
Yeah, because 1997 constitution went
constitution. But morally, do you think he should? Morally.
But party leader answer is should suffice. Kafoko, while there is no constitutional legal framework to bar him from running for a third term, he has a moral responsibility to not run for a third term because he made a commitment to them, to the coalition, for 3 years. He broke that commitment. Now, if you recall, after Niger, didn't an ECOWAS Ghanaian member of the ECOWAS parliament made a statement to the effect that
and Liberia senator, 2 of them.
Yes. So the moral ground is solid for him not to run. But I believe this foot dragging on the new constitution is all pointing to a situation where Barrow will run for a third term. I hope I am wrong. I hope I am wrong, but everything is pointing to that. And if you look at last Thursday, certain elders went to see him, and the message they gave him was run 2026. And if you look at the recent cabinet appointments also, you are appointing people in strategic ministries that will have a purview over election. All of that sends a message that basically suggests that, hey, I'm ready. Now, whether Gambians will accept that?
That's $1 million question. I think we shouldn't allow it as Gambians. That's like the Senegalese did. But Uncle, again, you did answer this question, but the critics of UDP, even government officials, UDP doesn't have moral authority to tell Barrow not to go for third time when Loy Osiludabo has been there for 27 years and he's still going. So they should sort out the term limit within themselves first before they start pointing finger at Barrow. I think you did answer this question today, but can you address that because at the Amo Besiakan, but we have opposition or term limit. But Gambia right now is like Sinayale Agamdako NPP UDP case Sinality. I'll go Baroko Tatam, but I'll find term limits of Allah leader. What would you say to that?
UDP has no responsibility to abide by what Barrow is doing because UDP is not in a position of leadership in the country. To say that Lawyer Dabo should also step down because he's been leading the party for 27 years should also mean that Nimbaro step down, Tafanananta step down. That is like mixing apples and oranges. I'll give you an example. I used to go to Seychelles a lot because Seychelles presents a good development model.
Yeah.
The current president of Seychelles ran for the presidency for 38 years before he won.
Wow.
38. Konga for Peter Enyame. I think the party leader running in 2026 or thereafter is a totally wholly personal choice that he has to make.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a personal choice. And anybody who impinges on his personal choice, he can just say, okay, that's your view. In a situation like that, Jumala view be important. Atella view be important.
But uncle, even closer to home, Apply Ward ran many times before he was elected president of Senegal.
Yes.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is it's a lame excuse to say Nalko Baroiji wata nyimfana nyanta jilala because imanke kilinti. And they know it. They're just these people are good at making excuses. Parallelisms that they use are normally refuted by facts. Peter Kabrin, in my first appearance there in Yininka Bola Tinubu, I said, I see no reason to worry about his age. I don't see a reason. What I'll worry about is his mind. Is his mind working?
Yeah.
Does he have the brains to run the country? Yeah. Is he healthy enough to run the country? When those answers are yes, I don't care how old he is. Now, Bola Tinubu Jibe, with all the issues that are going on, some of the things that he has done in the past 3 months as president of Nigeria, they are phenomenal. Now, a lot of people are questioning his legitimacy and all that. But in terms of the policy options he has chosen to make, nobody can argue with those. You know, this business of, we talked about that in Peter's interview, to say that the cost of living is so exponentially growing.
Yeah, in fact, lafita nala wole fulanto balwola kolea.
Government needs to do something about it.
Double ticket inflation.
Yeah, you know, Tinubu introduced a series of measures related to palliatives. As an economist, you know what the palliatives are.
Yeah.
Now, every one of those palliatives, there are 5 of them, every one of them is hitting the target right on target. And it's making life easier for people. Now, petrol is the exception there.
Yeah.
I think he jumped the gun by saying no more subsidy gone. He could have done it better by phasing out subsidies over a period of time, rather than boom.
Yeah, that was rash.
That was rash. Now he's finding it difficult to keep that subsidy because there is a lot of groundswell of opinion to say, look at the subsidy issue again. And I will not be surprised if he scales it back and then phases it into phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, or whatever phase that he needs. But the palliatives that he has suggested are working.
Uncle, finally, Janin Belan Joliela. Topic on Alango, it cuts across every Gambian. Whether they Patito, the NPP by UDP, Walla Balwala quote.
Yes.
Prices of commodities skyrocketing. And it looks like Niman Sekunda, they have a very passive approach towards it. And Menkang Jahali, all the time, Ukraine war, because I know COVID-19, COVID-19. COVID sign, they have moved to, very soon they will say Niger crisis because it's all they are just quick on jumping into, an problem or deployment. But Gambia prices are very expensive. Doko, a small bag of onion is now 1,500 wole killing Cameroon.
Yes, it's true.
Subo iko fuarol because subo spanno. Nyo
No,
fananda kama.
saying ni musedi kundan ko to subo ka dom.
Bayalo toldal la sumala. Toldal la sumala. So don't we can
Well,
cook.
okay.
Biringa story je go si se ol me alam ko si se faction sa bale kolkade go si se ol men si se ol men tinyara ye fay molta ra fufu rola ngo me majula ni bebe kala si se ko nangole di dara abu ko lo blado ito la nyo sa bala je si se ol me alam go ye fay but ongol balwo be kolari ngambia de ite be gambia le day to day. So, but do you think go dole fanan konye ko atemo NPP ko le naka kacha soto la ate akonye ko baratol fon be complain in the prices ni UDP nata. For marchandise all dabeji la albe mo kala marchandise all prices will continue to skyrocket. So, dole fanan go fokan iko dole diam kense wolo bahani ko nata mano dabe selela le marchandise but ibe cool je ga ye government na policy je nyale in terms of trying to mitigate inflation.
Do they have a mitigating policy?
I don't think they do.
They don't.
They don't.
They are just winging it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to the cost of living, the general hardships around the cost of living.
Yeah.
Seku nunto bolonkono.
Mm-hmm.
Konko kadati late August, early September.
Mm-hmm.
Kata middle of October.
Mm-hmm.
Sign konko kadati April.
Je.
April.
Mm-hmm.
Konko kadati April.
Mm-hmm.
So nimang mo soto membe support la.
Mm-hmm.
Literally konko inin konko le kela. Yes. Niaje molbe kidile bita backway be fonkola. It's because they see the backway as an alternative to getting them out of that misery.
Mm-hmm.
It's not uncommon mol kafo ko man ndingul man domoro ke tilifula fo tilsa wala kafo sinkiro man jonkin na so kono tilifula fo tilsa. Muntuma le Gambia o konko sifa long. We have never faced that kind of a predicament before. And anybody who spends any time in the rural areas will tell you it is tough out there. Yeah, Jababoto 1,500. Anundomandi malamwadi. Pompitero can go around the same price. Mani beto, you have to pay 2,000 plus for it. Nika Saddam Ledomo, it's almost 3,000 for a 50 kg bag of rice. Yalo nteka menke se. Every other Saturday. Nimbe kombo. Kabula moto la ngata marse olto. Nkada ti banjunu ngata bakao. Ngana sere kunda. Ngata latri kunda sabi. Then the following Sunday, ngata nyinsila dola, ngata brufu. Tanje, Sanyang, Pokato, all the markets there. Sign Gambia, hani Jaba Jambo, akabo Senegal.
Wow.
Jaba Jambo, akabo Senegal. Everything we consume is now coming from Senegal or imported from Morocco, if it's a fruit or a vegetable. So nteka wasifa like nkata nga markets jibe. Walana I talk to this market women and they tell me the kind of challenges that they face, because most of these market women are the breadwinners in their families. So Newell Mamani Boto Sanno, after working for what 15 days in Mamani Boto Sanno, muna umanke masibo. Yo, Niemani Boto Sanno Fanang, Ibe Melala Mano Kang becomes the next issue.
Yeah.
Nisa Sata, the thing is even more exacerbated.
Yeah.
Nila dindingul bita karambungu to putu, you can add 1 plus 1 together. So you see, these are structural issues of poverty. You are an economist. You know, in order to deal with poverty, you have to attack its structure.
Yeah.
And we don't have a government that has the capacity to formulate policies that will attack the structure of poverty in the country. Wala nang nimmolu konye ko komi nyimme Peter Fenketen ka foko it's a they lifted from the 5-point agenda from
the NDP.
Wolmari mao 5-point agenda from Karang. Nia Karang num ibalon na ko that 5-point agenda, it took us 2 years to formulate that 5-point agenda and the manifesto. And that is because we took it sector by sector. And every sector was led by a sector specialist. So Mantara Feala, when we say these are the structural issues in the agriculture sector, these are the structural issues in the education sector, these are the structural issues in the health sector, we know what those problems are and we know how to solve them. Because the solutions have been proffered in that 5-point agenda, they've been proffered in the manifesto. And now the synthesis report that we are talking about, building a new Gambia, has brought those things together in a very simplified way. Yalong na problem.
Baraka bake kacha diara bake. We've been here 2 hours.
Na problem moment in the Gambia. We cannot celebrate our people. Ni wote wo mari menka nyimfa tafola. Because na la time ta nung 5-point agenda read, a manifesto read. Abalona ko nyulie doku bale ke nyimko. Wala na kabringa fintin di to leka ngunu duma bare moman finti publicly ka foko nyimmambete. Anunga wuli wala kam. I'll end it with that.
Thank you, Uncle Baraka Bake Kacha Diata. It's always refreshing listening to you or any other than. Thank you for all the time. But Janibi Dalarek, I will devote at least 10, 15 minutes or 20 minutes to question time Q&A. Saying audience will nimbo more of the call killer. Please call in your question also Uncle Larry. Malafi comments like because you may call you, let's be precise question, but don't be over elaborative in your line of questioning, please. The line is open on UDP Online Bantaba. Nimmo call us with then Uncle Bala or concluding remarks, then we let it go. But more in a WhatsApp call only. If you have a question for Uncle Lare Sisay, UDP at 27. The last question on Yininga, me alam tema Yininga. Or Kachajang, you can ask. UDP members will call in, or even NPP. Even NPP, you're free to call in. Challenge us on ideas and policies of UDP, and we are ready to answer. The line is open on UDP Online Bantaba. So Uncle Alajane Protocol. So I'll question okay. I'll Yininga, but callers will be seen all the follow. So no more have to call, no more have to comment on the platform. Okay, we have the first caller on the show. Now at the left hold on. What is happening with my phone? No phone, or maybe I'll be 6 seconds and call again. Hold on, I'll call you back, caller. Let me call Kigan. Okay. Oh, don't even call them, but the call hasn't even registered. Maybe Marisa try calling main call, okay? Okay, I'm going to call back, okay? And then Amari say call, no. Okay, okay. Halima la called on Tale. Halima, hold on. Okay, I think I need to shut out my phone. Halima is the first caller today. I need to shut out my phone. Alim Balal. I didn't know internet is all mixing up. I will restart my phone and call all of you back. Alim Balal. There's something happening with my phone. I'll be a caller back. 2 callers. Nearly call. I will restart my phone and then call all of you. Okay. Kore nyomin call them to nyala ke bafala ko jarang ka telephone wala.
Yo, abandon tete femfola.
Jemi ngol en to jale wala jaranga telephone wala. Amam bete ya. Okay,
Yeah, it's a first
follow.
world. It's a first world
Huh?
telephone as opposed to our third world telephone.
Obviously. Maybe MPP go there interfering with my system, but think they want to stop our interview, but inshallah we will not. I will call Alima back and then call Taf. There's another guy may call Taf. Then obviously I'll also have a question on Yelinka. Most about I think 3 people call. Taf is calling. Okay. Ali stop follow. Then after I'll say call. Okay. Halima Duntale saying. Halima, go ahead, please. Hello.
Let me call back. I can't hear you.
Memo ikane. Okay. I was hearing her. She said she couldn't hear me. Okay. I don't know. Okay, let me call her back. Okay. The phone is ringing at everyone Masika. Ali, may you come where
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yes.
Uncle Larry, be my gun.
Hello.
Hello.
So, my first question. Well, his role on the UNDP.
Mm-hmm.
So, if UDP ever become the ruling party in 2026, will he try to implement those same roles that he was doing at the UNDP for the United Democratic Party?
Okay, that's one question. You said you got 2 questions. Do you want to ask both questions at the same time, or you want him to respond to this one first?
He can respond to this one first.
Okay, Uncle Yala, the Amomoyle.
Alima Barimbake kanne. For 2 years, I've been working with a bunch of other colleagues on the 5-point agenda and in manifesto and now the synthesis report. What is important is the team that the party leader will build around him. Yalong, a leader can make life very easy for him or herself by the quality of the people he surrounds himself with. The problem with the current group is that Baro Mafan surround with what I call embodied technical knowledge that can be technically sound to bring to bear on policy matrices. I'm also talking. So yes, the menuke kanung UNDP in some of the other countries, hopefully we'll do better and we'll do more for the country because I'm bijana monke ko iben transfer or ngata be moved from one country to another. I'm home. And that is the reason why I am home.
Okay, Ali, my last question from you, please. Does that answer satisfy you? Answer Mandela.
Yes, very.
Okay, go ahead with your second question, please.
The second question is not related to the show. It's actually related to. I was gonna ask when la after namakoswonye na ninti
Nama ebo di lan tele follow la because ndefam fenjere ndefana nga press call so to jani anu na musole miti ma imo de dante so ibida order ala Uncle Larry.
Well, asada da asadi se di kundam kola.
Exactly. Jani ibida Gambia ikatandi UK la ikata Gambia.
Yes. That is actually discriminatory.
Abaraga, thank you, Alima, thank you, Baraga. Baraka back in Badum Odela Mekam. Wolom now. Okay, Benga Charnon Be caller back. I have to be fair to the first caller. They call a telephone call. Okay, so I'm about to call about tough level call. ninga tough soto then that will be all killing. Okay, tough. Tough. Yeah, bismillah.
Mr. Cyril Inimbara, Mustafa Sayan, the Kolkata in German recently.
Abaraka, Mr. Sanya, bismillah.
Yeah, left Uncle Lare Sisay Kontombake, I Diamol Duty Senata. So, Martin Drabage, no Uncle Lambari, Uncle Mumbari.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come Patiola, Kenya, like Nadipitolo. Yenye moto minta fo patio man si soto je wan pruka finti public ka itani mina mu patio la mira dati because I'm a UDP member. So ngara shola because the malka sija neno nina coalition kanyo saba because of UDP ini MPP be mun ko no ndolni MPP man tla ko nyamna na le dictele nda so fo patio ta finti no la ba press release muna ba mutaribulu for there is any doubt le be about money down misro but you know 26 akana ke money jala kudi or like for avec la fonse problem so region political corner about we don't know because Gambia is a finding all and other political party called UDP ni MPP BMK my la deputy tare in 2.5 million moto sikaya yata but you man for jeba deri so mala kunkulare is and UDP top executive on the so yamuna kuma so den ko ko program and then batra mita congress la Zurich infra de fana ninga chance to no kadiam be diam la yela for party leader bina for jumala bina ke in front of those people because of UDP Jonathan to ko be la
Okay, Abaraka, Mr. Sisay. I think the party leader will be in Zurich. So, thank you so much. But Uncle Larry Batala,
yeah. Recently, coming member Mutaribu, pro Uncle Larry is a media to send and pro Banco Mol Financial, Kumo Fanambule,
Okay, Abaraka, question on Abaraka, thank you. Uncle Larry, this question will not go away.
No, it will not.
It will not go away. And interestingly, it did not feature in party leader media Momanyininka.
Momanyininka, yes.
Where is surprised that none of the journalists asked that question?
What Hanibi Intefana na interview at West Coast, Nininka Romanki. Momanyininka. This is the first time I've intitana. Now, what I will say is what I have said to you earlier. I don't think mamera mo be argument ke kanko imanyan na moto soto. I don't think that is the issue. What is the issue is the price tag on those vehicles.
Yeah.
I think that is where everybody has a problem, including people in UDP like him and me. There are better options of cars to buy.
Yeah.
Cheaper, more economical to run, so that our National Assembly members can have a way of moving around.
Yeah.
It's actually a situation where sometimes Nibita Banyun, you see National Assembly members hustling to get a vehicle to go to Parliament.
Yeah.
Wole atina molko mambala e motor soto. Aribe motor sifa mensan. Honestly, womanyan na kela 2 million to 3 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that is where we parted company on that vehicle issue.
Yeah.
They could have done better.
Yeah.
But there is something mbukameng memfo. And that is Janini Motol Besan. They were presented in the budget. And all the National Assembly members subscribed to it. Walatin Ntela personal view is that we need to introduce this line item discussion or even line item veto in our budget process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where if an item is on line 27 and it's going to cost 16 million euros, rather than spend those 16 million euros on cars, you can buy 3-4 million out of that 16 million and you invest the rest in education and health.
Yeah.
So fonga nying reform si falu nati in our budget process. And those are some of the issues that we have raised in the economic section of our manifesto. It's there. Mafoko ekana moto soto.
Yeah.
Barinko inyanta moto soto la mea lonko. Ni tata ya park in a village. Na longa Mount Fana use as an example.
Yeah.
It could very well be Kuda. Near park Dauda, it won't conspicuously stand out.
Yeah. Uncle Anoniaji Bela response resonates with what Dr. Lamin Mane said.
Yes.
That branch. And Amadou Sane.
Yep. Amadou Fana.
Amadou Fana. So Nimo you call Beke Miranko Ibajalako, even though party among statement bondi officially on this. But Ikaje ko UDP executive members or Nel Diamda Mamadou Sabali as a member campaign manager has spoken against this thing. So Ibajalako member folk and young UDP executive members or Nel Diamata individually Yatanileko Party MPU rights or Kamotosoro. There is no contestation to that.
No.
It's just the price tag on this, And I think that answers the question. But the caller did say that inshallah without Zurich and the party leader, you asked the question. I'm sure party leader will
you asked a question. I'm sure the party leader will give him an appropriate answer.
I will give him an appropriate answer. So let me call Lare Sisay also. Ninga defane nyirin karo suto. Lare Sisay bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum salam.
Yeah, Lare Sisay kundanga brother lamdo.
My father, he's
my
father.
He's your dad. If I'm all good.
Okay. Yeah, second question flale nyininkala. La first question bekala minti. Munati na akakolea nanyin two governments or million rule ya jamela time warning parola time pruning high caliber of I don't know people in here do okay. Soling ninkala munatina Gambia la nying acceptende balu jamabal katale fang fosa e taraje ikasula banko e ta nyame ibuka sotono munatina nyaton kolu kanyim mosi fallo kele okay jamfandi ila masako.
Okay.
My first question.
You have another question. What is the first question? For you call what is the first question? Okay, you need to okay. Uncle, yala dia mo mena na ka kole proman secondary. Natural mo kendoli edo.
It's actually a fair tale. It's a question of principle, ethics, professionalism. Yalon te be somebody asked Peter whether this Lare Sisay talking was the Lare Sisay who was appointed Secretary General by the APRC.
Yes.
Yalon moyo nyininkal. Yes, it is me, and I worked for them for 3 weeks. But over 3 weeks I saw what they really want. And I decided I will not be part of that. I parted company with them. It really doesn't matter. I just want to be out of that environment. Whether tele resign is immaterial to me. The fact of the matter is I didn't want to be part of that environment. And I'm glad I made that decision at that time. Imagine what I did wrong within a matter of 2-3 months, UN and apply UN.
Yeah.
They offered me 3 different jobs. I selected what I wanted because they knew I was being professional in my general disposition. And mind you, akakolea also because you pander to them.
Yeah.
If you are a professional, you cannot pander to people. Ikalafile fananke used to corrupt things. If you are a professional and you care about your ethics and your integrity, you don't do that.
Yeah.
So these are 3 elements that makes it extremely different. Funny molma along Teresa and Jawara follow la government.
And in molma kalamuta.
Molma kalamuta ha. But in Risa enta wale follow to on principle. Resign telephone mol ka fonye konko be fala le because you know ko okay konko en fa kudam be mu kunko ni mfarol ntesi boku da ngata konko en fa. I resigned on principle. So akanyimem for the molmen ya lonko inyanta this kind of contribution all kela niaje buka keno is because of those three factors. Now, I said Peter Ko nae modol kumande abuke soto readily. Nae usenu dabo kumande ako usenu lafte famole na. Usenu kafa no nga mol sotole who are experts in this area but nga all key. That was how I first appeared on West Coast because Peter Nkoroke diamtele koroke kai ko kumandi afa ko ntele kai ko and he called me. The rest was history. Now, if you are a leader and you are able to surround yourself with substantive people, ethical people, people who have professional backbone, you ibuka hesitate ke empower.
Yeah.
Ajibe nintol tatal la nyim platform molto. Mol ka foleje ni mosi falbe UDP. Yes, ni mosi falbe UDP le. Anuntenga for international personality do recently. Ako ate malong control dol bebe UDP le because nine nyolone in the international scene. Nkai ko ila email dina I will send you 25 names like me who are members of the UDP. Akonye you got to be joking. Nkai no I don't joke about those things. Ala email dina kunun nga listo nyinkia. He called me akonye ko no. Ntebe nyim verify la nkai verify. Guy because niba verify la nga listo mendi la mari to bijele ala constituency bije ala party membership card bije ala party membership card number bije. So go and verify.
Wow. Okay, Lare Sisay, go ahead with your second question, please.
Okay, Sego, my second question will be Ning FGM Saga Mimbeke in Gambia. So, why ikafanya dilem ilaftan ado talambulu, you understand, because ado be tubabulu bulemi alonko, it's against, you understand, dola ado against our religion in the sense that tubabu do jang ikafanya dilem kenin ke ka futule musunim musu ka futu. So femfen ya lonko amam itolieming invent is good for them. Nintoliake is not good for us. Then tolnyantan ta to la jela ni tolta adopt. Why are we, you understand, doing or dancing kafanya dilem tuabu femfen kedro ngabulao no mahana tra amantol febo barentolta ibuka pare we kama andu womu fennetin dolla molu meda ado kega fele ay problemo fenam bankoka 5 cents dollar be did you have any take on that?
Okay, Baraka, thank you, Lare Sisay. Uncle, our final question relates to, I think you did touch on this briefly in the FGM, this year's issue, culture, religion, going at loggerheads. Do you have anything to say to that?
Well, Konga for Peter Enyame. This is a mostly Muslim country. And Islamic principles makes it optional. Amanke faratod, sunnola, to circumcise. And if you take it from that angle, it becomes a personal choice. But academic for thing, it is very true. If you recall, when Obama went to Kenya, he had a press conference with President Kenyatta, and he talked about Kenya allowing same-sex marriage. And what was Kenyatta's response to him? It was that, yeah, for you guys, you don't have issues. You can go and marry each other, man to man, woman to woman. For us, our problem is what to eat, where to sleep, and what water to drink. Once we do that, we will be able to have the luxury of marrying each other in the same sex. Amankumoba.
Yeah, I come over.
Yeah. And then the second thing is Mbadin question. It's a question of sovereignty. If you feel your country is strong enough, your economy is strong enough to not rely on these development partners for development financing, that's when you can take some of these decisions. Now, Loneko recently, of all places, Uganda, Museveni had a law against this thing. Now, if you look at it from a purely human rights perspective, that law is draconian.
Yeah.
But he's basically saying, go and take care of your country and leave me to take care of my country.
Yeah.
Because the vast majority of my people support this thing.
Great. Okay. So saying more callers all done. More. I don't want to additional callers because we are pressed for time. We've been here 2 hours 46 minutes. I've got about 4 or 5 callers on the callers list. But if you can make your comments very brief. So Bamba Bay caller back. There's a caller from Austria, Karayaku. They call it Pamali Kamara will call you back. So don't bother to call again. There's a caller from the UK. Battle caller like Mokana call to in case. So Baldan because otherwise we'll be here for the whole night. Karayaku I'll call you back. Then we take those few calls, then we terminate the program. Okay. Karayaku, go ahead, please.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Alaikum salam.
Audience on the Uncle Lare content about it.
Abaraka.
No kwani yata. Ngala moila no the other time for am bimbe kere.
Abaraka.
The Dr. Sisay for na content na ila do kwani yata.
Dr. Mane for Dr. Sisay.
Dr. Mane. Sorry.
Yeah.
Dr. Mane, yeah, baby content na ila do kwani yata.
Abaraka.
Maybe deviate the money because the news la moy kanelo about ba useni IEC I accusation of Mikela about electoral ka tamaya binata moy news to IEC for someone like I don't know by the name someone by the name Mr. Juflemba coming out and ridicule all those things about Kumoldas. So until left Uncle Lare in Kalamin because I think in my Keleton long another statement or body in more Puntali Faro coming for Toyale, Canado, Molo Pota rubbish. Find out that the Talamia is concrete. I see personal solo, this is not this is not a play because more than focus evident all the more and you mean for well and I see that therefore is for rubbish. Because election market more declare the whole process, registration, pre-registration campaign and everything is all about election. So this is very important. Partina the statement Sifata IEC 1996 up to date. If it is an Anglian Pusifa from Tamira, Intergero, or Latin in Caro, Partina the Sifata Kaitandiloko, they have good reasons that you come for, and also they should know that for this they will not go unpunished on these things. I think that's the message they will understand. Because otherwise they also make their statement and go and sleep. And they should not be coming out of that. And I think this is serious. More labadic in Katan, three to let Paliani, la Chilimbalia, Boncoting and sofa. So left a call when you think you are doing kind for UDP is a strong Tano. Even Casta Sank, I see there's not going to be business as usual because no one can contact.
Karayaku, are you asking a question or you're making a comment?
Comment but the left of Kayanika for Namira, I think they can also Ikana Dando Yamu IC Yamu Kunyama Yagamino in more confused at the end Yagamino they are narrow minded when it comes to UDP. So I left Osifala also to send clear message to IC Kaitani this is not a play Konga this evident will be and they will not accept that in the future. And even there could be consequences when UDP government come into office.
How do you mean, before you go, how do you mean there could be consequences? Can you just elaborate on that?
Yes, there should be investigations because it's not going to be like an election win today.
Okay.
It has to be something permanent for the future, through we can have a free and fair election. The same thing will be now, and we have to more than so after the election this government among win and it win, but then the question is for more the same thing even our that's why more along especially the UDP hierarchy,
Okay, Kara Yakub, I gotta cut you there. I think you are pretty much repeating what you have just said. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Uncle Yala Diamond, I think you have addressed this. Yeah, addressed it.
Addressed it, yes. But let me just say again that kodo se numu alphalet.
Yeah.
Abuka lo dronga kumakuntanfo.
Yeah.
Immediately after the election, a press conference came. We have evidence that there are certain serious irregularities in the election process.
Yeah.
Offered.
Exactly.
And he also showed the Jamanjeli constituency,
and evidence
Jamanjeli polling station registration, the number of people that have been registered outside of the gazetted statutory time of registration. And that was included in the petition to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
What is most unfortunate is that Supreme Court never had that case.
Yeah.
Natra case the electoral law is very clear. Anatra one case of impropriety, they should throw the result out.
Yeah, that should.
So nobody should be surprised that the court didn't hear it. And nobody should be surprised that NPP mol kafo kontol kato afola election free and fair. We shouldn't be surprised by any of those things.
Yeah.
Because it only alone menke. Muna Ibrahim Asila malo ako nga menke nga alone. Ayofole kodi. Mo kotamal vije menu diamata to that effect. I think the only people who don't know that this election was rigged are those people who are still asking those questions. But the vast majority of Gambians know that the election was not free.
Yeah.
Hani NPP supporter dolbe dula dolte kafole.
Yeah.
So nte done now also. Now, koto se kafoko for nte murla back to IEC on this thing. It's not necessary.
Absolutely. That's not necessary.
It's not necessary. And he talked with facts.
Yeah.
I repeated the Jambanjeli issue. It's a fact.
Yeah.
Can I expect whether the IC chairman or his surrogates are going to accept that fact line? Because we are exposing how incompetent they are.
Yeah.
So one thing I always do is not to engage in a protracted back and forth with people that I know are not worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. Uncle, in fact, Lieutenant Fala, thank you for that brilliant response. But just to add a little bit to what you said, Karaya Kumyanda may understand because Ningala question on Jali, party leader Diamda, IEC naturally would respond because
of course
they've been called out. So Nin Tolufan Kombeulu Jabila Kotenke, it's gonna be this protracted back and forth.
Back and forth.
But Lafita men for life, in fact, at every meaning has already been done.
Yeah.
If you go back to history, UDP the first press conference, bidding Supreme Court threw the case out. Okay, UDP called president and evidence was presented. Politics of inducement, Mayor Alongo is against the Electoral Act, will be for a Jambanjeli situation. So UDP evidence will delay. So if IEC is like a memory loss coming out to try to call for it, so we don't have to go back. Already an evidence presented, and it becomes a bit childish if we want to go through that. No, it will excellent. But after the Gambian level, IEC level Tonya for UDP level Tonya for I think we just leave it at that. So Uncle.
Yalon say kumem fanambe kuokon. Coming now for nyamen in the other segment. Kodoze numu alpha let. Alpha ibuka so nyin dindim mesangoli kumufeyandi.
Yeah.
Thank you. Manyan nam kumufeyandi la sako koto usen.
Yeah, thank you.
So walatin na manyan na back and forth kele.
Okay, I'll call Samba Kurujane. I think my question is settled, and then Bamba may call all back. I have other callers. Samba, go ahead, please.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum.
Irimbara. Abaraka. Abaraka.
Anyway, and then Londo Manja for back. Left a many in Caladron. Nalo maybe I put the court, Lebara commented on the back. Dola in Caro Tata Dama. Well, mean to go Caramol Medica Sudogo Gaffo, then in the water Ticosit Lapula. American Umbido Fund, Capareka Moetico Lapula. Most of them are carrying company Latinal Canai private. I can do a walk at the back Nala the court, but Mang government idea mala and then opposition buka kwa diamo amantar na fabe na lual franco bang so momo na te sifa su lual dano dan ko troite be ko tala mon bul men jati te ya atno ka understand ba flanya dile so mal fa ala londo fala in stay gabro stano site na mama
okay abaraka some yeah uncle yalak diamo mo concern mo outside
Just the other day, Tata fuel station the fuel sanka. And there was a very passionate discussion about this issue. And Dobije went to Sutele. Hi kidu Uncle Lare yes. We want to ask you. I but through their exchange, they put their finger on the issue. And the issue is Banco Nyanta regulatory framework for all of these things.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't have it.
Yeah.
So when you don't have a regulatory framework to manage people's behavior, social behavior, economic behavior, cultural behavior, ethical behavior, you find yourself in a situation where it's a free for all. Niaji be haninas be dol kan blal mol kanal dre kantinguloje ye jail irrespective of zoning laws and stuff. So my regulatory framework soto andu nima regulatory framework soto I meng yin katem wole kaki.
Yeah.
The other thing is I don't like extremism of any kind. Extremism of the left or extremism of the right. I don't like extremism. I am a centrist person. Take what is practical from the left and the right, amalgamate them and move.
Yeah.
But these cultural religious issues will come to a head at some point.
Yeah.
And I hope the government is prepared at that point to regulate people's behavior.
And also, Uncle, the fact that the matter is before the courts.
Yes.
Let's see what the verdict will be. Maybe that's going to be
what the courts will say. Yes.
What the courts will say. Okay, thank you. Simon, men call Palm Malik. No, Bamba maybe Germany. Then Palm Malik Kamara. Bamba maybe Germany. Definitely regular callers. Okay, Bamba Bismillah, but remember, Bimbe Mantara comments all and Benjamin Carol, so go ahead, please.
Kala topical kabetia back. Baral learning angalen tol mamo back, but now command the concept of Betia Valding Angale. Karamundo Dinadia Mosia Amankal Bedi Verbetum.
Madam Felabe Molla Villade.
Abe more Tony can.
Kamankal Bedi Verbetum. Okay, let's talk about meaning Kawala Niko. Walang Equas Ning.
Alnalo nela time bandala baroko fue la fon contra nya ajos.
A comic.
Economic. So come el salaire ni jumal el responsabilidad la jumal el kejo gando masa kundala bang for economic. Okay. Ninen kar flanjang. Nkai kuna kodi jamal lel moy jang min fil gambela kodo. Comme namra ta fon la diamo kona kodo do fo kamala for 600 million malo nyadi min fil ta bitun. So anyway, so na mo la fanang kom kodi jamal lel ka fil jang. Na sa kunda kon anin bi ko mo ka kaje aduna député wala soro député bon. So for député wala pa man ke kundo responsibility ko man sa kunda nyinin ka bankola na mo min banko don ka jo kodo ka fili o kodi jama be ka fili o banko kan o banko nin adum min ka sunya na nyolonne bar député mu kawo man sa kunda nyinin kano mu ka baro nyinin kano so mina o sabu tanko banko be doyar nyamin because na député wala so wala nyinin ka fulan nyon sabanjang
ani be fulada mala nyinin kala de kadino. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, now sabanjang la ka wala bar biton ni ko na pula fulo nyin to no problem.
Na ni ata sutiyata nyinin ka but quickly.
Okay, sabanya wala nyindi ko. B gambe diol mina be motarim tolu bolo. Mina be motarim bolo pour 2026 gambe diol. Parce que na lo noko surwal kamen fo les ram signac village. Les ram signac. Parce que na nego contre min be jembe ajele. Membe na nebo contribute aje. Baro la sembo be wala bala. So 2026 gambe dion na mina londi dal na mba pareri nyaadi. Because ni manyan na katambi 2026. Wala nyinin ka sabanja.
Okay, Kadi Mila Nyininkari Flanjan is attending to corruption and the National Assembly. Sabanjan will never be motoring Gambian or Buru. But Nyininkari follow Malam for Uncle, I remember. Therefore, you know.
I remember ako economic Jumale Kela salary jo.
I remember. Okay.
Ako economic Jumale Kawala salary jo.
Okay, Uncle, go ahead.
Economic base set up la wato menna. It was a consortium, EU, a consortium led by the EU was paying their operational fees. Ilaning subsequent extensions, Malon Jumala Kajo, but definitely not the Gambia government. Model Kafoko France le Kajo, Dolka for European Union. So Malon inflow Jumala Ka
European Union wale afale ko Kajo ila ambassador di amdale. I think they stopped it.
Yes. Yes. Ekotol the wala nanko dolka for France lem dolka for European Union lem. I'm aware that European Union issued a disclaimer koitol bukajo. So that leaves France and some other partner paying for it. Again, it strikes akanyimem for the transparency and accountability is an issue. Ni wote mol nyanta alon na le kodoka bodamen kawoljo.
The MPs,
yes, yalong oversight responsibility of the legislature is very weak.
Very weak.
In this country. And it is something that need to be looked into so that they encourage to be more proactive. Now on corruption, abem murundikan ngadati dame. All these monies are not necessarily being lost. They are being stolen. Iba sunya kan na manfilide. Ukodiba sifa bukafili ka sunya le amako. Now, ukodiba menuka sunya, Auditor General report all dadale, which is very conclusive. All those reports are conclusive. Kafoko karnin karle nyin. Bari government man stepped up ka mol charge for corruption. Wala nanko mol ka corruption okele because consequence tije. Niake two stay sotol. nata ko consequence tije munebe molu balila kake iba kelale so mbade wolem ika 2026 mem foten 2026 be jamfarin ne demanding 3 years in politics is a long time tumandoba to by 2024 2025 towards the end of 2025 the political ecosystem political be clear baraka même foten gambianol lafta munele be parere munela ndefana lafta wolon nan
ate fon be wol kono le ate bamba fon be wol
lafta wolon nale because that will determine whether we'll get change or not.
Yeah. I think that is sorry. Omar Fati, Jamimbete call. Let me call Pamalik Kamara. Then Omar Fati will be the last call. Then a program will come for. Yeah, Pamalik Kamara, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Sidili.
Enembaro.
Numbarambe konton nambe Mr.
Yeah, Uncle Lare ba konton now.
Inimbara Kamara kundanko.
Abaraka.
Mr. Sidinte nanga lafta Mr. Sisay lengin ingala. Mr. Sisay ila diamo akamulun ko kita modime kawurulon bakede.
Na kawurulon ne han tato school je.
Okay, that's very good. Lafta lengin ingala men walang kawur MBB ala abenyame.
Kawru mum?
Kawru GPMB ni hatulo bakan kawru GPMB.
GPMB depo membije
Ngamira after Banjul Kawru is having the second biggest harbor in the Gambia.
Yeah.
Menketa ko poroto be nyamen binna Gambia poroto ka bisi nyamen. Kulumulu kataralori mbako ne ibenyo batun na namirandi wa mendina munatin na mansa kunda man kawuru didano kulumu do luka ji ikalo kawuru yela kontena woni jindi je kontena yul de kata kombole ni silol be betari mamira kawuru ni kombote manyanta moto troko nyanta borla for 5 hours la anin bari bitilo la bigonte fa bota Gambia mamme ba te lokum fula komantere mbota Gambia. Bitilo la wata keno la because birim futara ndara Gambia ndara foka urumbe muruka na ngawo birijo menje. Kulun men na kindi kulun kilinde tambilo la wasiloka.
Birijo asutiata le.
Birijo be nyama asutiata le. Lota jele fo nga birijo jube mbem mire ka ko ni western wall jam fa ka birijo di dale birijo men ya lonko ika yele nole ya sorong.
Yeah.
Okay, Pamalik, finish your point. Ilo question on Yininga.
You are right.
Okay, Abaraka Pamalik. Okay, go ahead.
I don't know what is going on.
Ngana video le. Ngana video le bondi studio to banbe mai kanne.
Okay. He's right. Kaur used to be a very vibrant groundnut processing center.
Yeah.
GPMB le warata kaurti bar kaur le fana warata kuntau. Now niaje Gambia la kuo balafa warta. Kabri GPMB privatized. The Gambia Groundnut Corporation Fanam privatized. Ntefe when agriculture sector fale dak. Walatin na mol be bota bolonkone nata kombo. Because document soto nyindula. Those were employment hubs, especially after the harvest going towards the early rains. Near manifesto GB Koteke.
Yeah.
And the 5 point. And in synthesis reporting. UDP has plans to revive Kaur Denton Bridge, Kuntao, and maybe even have a dry port in Basse.
Yeah.
But I lanjur dulale for Saloni, Transgambia Bridge. It is very low. That will affect the river navigation big time. Malong Mosake no nyadile foyo bridge te ya loku so that river transport can begin. Nibula takulungla banjuni sitano all the way to Basse.
Maybe nyanda wala recycle la sidi keta nyanda jela recycle la.
Well, nte fango wo bridge every time be cross la je. Jakalo kalaflam falale because they should have known that that bridge is going to hinder river navigation. Now, for Senegal, it's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
Because it will be easy access Sotola from the south, from the north to the south through that bridge. And then up country, they have their Sambangalu Dam. Ntolman fen soto, nan river navigation fata o bridge wallet. So that bridge has to be revisited again. Mafoka recycle them, that recycle kuto bridge so that it's a strategic asset.
Maybe revamp and all that. So maybe.
If you want to revitalize Kaur, you can't do it without that bridge being taken care of.
Okay, Uncle Abaraka, then the last call signed in Sarodi, Omar Fati. Omar Fati, it's the last call.
Okay, so good. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Alaikum salam.
Abaraka.
Abaraka.
Amin ya Rabbi. Amin ya Rabbi. Yeah. Amin ya Rabbi. Amin ya Rabbi. Amin ya Rabbi. Amin ya Rabbi. Amin ya Rabbi.
But I have two questions. One, will be called Parliament National Assembly. Wale bije lewe part ni program o kenim pati by pati ko la sipo. Okay, ngala ba men ni kala banku diun fo banku diun man nyan to soto pati diun man nyan to soto no wani ya elen ya abondi parce que munem promoti banku diun le ka député ka fay pati toyala den o pati na pati na ite ko ite ka taransino linki ite ni mulla taransino te klenti ite la fa banko le yabla so nim pati e bay den ila siran e ko menden e kana je ko e mul hadani ke ko fu ka e man nyanna ka so fo pati de simpata no la wala ba clean plan jang fo pati di un panate simpata no la ba hanya dan ko bital wala to Hello, Bilo Nika challenge. I will bank constitution.
That's tricky. That's very interesting. But Uncle Maringa answered it. Thank you so much, Omar Fati.
No, I have one question again.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
For Patil Lala Nyokamba, oh, Yajeko, Banco be dunia Tama Nyame, Alonco, Banco Dune Kato 5 million. Like Ninko, Dabo, bidding a lot of Catafao, Ganel, Ikanakare, but why Dabo, it calls Yabu Banco, Banco, Talante, no bid that. Why not Bancola National Assembly? It ain't Kalawa Bank, Ningambia, and Cataro 5. In President of Canada, when the President of percentage now, so the President of percentage data now percentage of I had it able. For Gambia, because one man and Bangkok, I can fire. You now go and they come with a carnet every day. What do I buy every plan? One yabat, Bankudur Mankumapo, Patiman Kumapo, Patil Mankumapo, be a carrying double, but some of them kudos cannot.
So nobody caring pour ka tonya sama kamoya kantandi kamoya tanka fa inde kala banko dum kan wajibodi president kapetawo nim president kayeta memba nom e kawdi ala sempo so hana man speaker but I tried to play boom on I can vote me along kakumata banko ina mun kala nin karo fa the step down la nina as far as mu kebalti abi londo so dunya kolka.
Okay, Uncle Larry. I think these people are putting a lot of weight on your shoulders.
Well,
Uncle,
it's very humbling.
yeah.
It's very humbling. Listen, there was a time where voters can recall their National Assembly members.
Elected NAMs,
yes, elected NAMs. There was a time they can recall. There was a framework for it.
Yeah.
But a framework man sotokotek. Again, there was an opposition guy who made a proposal in Parliament.
Yeah.
That if you cross carpet from one party to another, you still retain your seat. So cross carpeting had no consequence. Wala tinanto law nams nyolu cross carpet tata NPP. Because consequence mantaraje. Not consequence bija can you remember them? People can organize and recall them. Or the aside from recalling, the framework is there that says that patio me londi ganyeta ni botaje you go to a by-election.
Yeah.
Ni moli yeta ni jolong ye jolong. But nying new proposal yo be bondile.
Bondile.
So I can remember them unless the new constitution comes online, I can't remember them yamate kenola.
Yeah.
Because the political space is closed and the political space has become very toxic because of that 1997 constitution. Better than I was.
Yeah, in fact, Uncle, thank you for that answer. But Dala Omar Wall Nyanda may understand. Banko ka tamani lual. Okay.
Yep.
But lua o constitution on banko dingo leka deda. So ning bank bring you National Assembly. Omar nibe lamakan bring nyin debite ol may UDP jamva. It tafauta yen 116 million of 5. Banko dingo be sirine. Ning banko dingo be wulita all over the country, Omar. He protested because we need this constitution back. Government be fenkelaji. But yalan gambe mono na problem oti Uncle Larry. Diamola legacia kelati. Okay. So Omar I can see the person in him for Banco Dingol te nyingala. Banco Dingol te fen change la no. But through through the constitution. Draft constitution or pro man sekunda ya file. Banco be sire. Araba be maraka 97 constitution or and protest killing namanam banko je ko protest on the draft constitution. Kabri ya fay mom protest ke draft constitution. Nim banko be wulte ko na million tani woro. Ni ala murunde nan constitution o hani tondo kana boji man sakuna ba kala and ala second question e man je jabia but ako coming talking of lawyer Dabo as Momi Alan got second in the votes but more by disrespect come for the law kela no jiwang kafo ko anyanta kela fendi again wo fana mantra constitution wala it's nothing in the constitution which says that if you come second in the election automatically you have to get so nimu banku dingole and bring you the consultation wala wo sifal mankeji so Omar these are things that it wulula like ye do the constitution or kono okay morally is wrong for morning and I'm going to also that mari Nendro itself is wrong, but more so on Alpha, So, but that's what I have to add on to this. Uncle,
Yalon Seku, Academic for them, he's talking passionately and he's talking emotionally.
Yeah.
I think we all feel like that because Nteka tulafula moleko. Ibuka tu molla alfal nenna.
Wallahi.
Yeah, expect koi betula derin.
Yeah.
At some point they will draw the line in the sand.
Yeah.
Walatin nanko earlier on in the program ko nyanta boundary sotolal. Boundary nying it's a boundary that respects the other side, just as the other side should respect you. Ni kana alfal neng, fanambela alfal neng.
Yeah.
Fonatra kumata ko okay, malafi ngamfan jindi na level na ina alfal neng satu.
Yeah.
Alpha hako samuta. But otherwise, Akamemfo, it cannot be legislated because it's all part of free speech.
Exactly.
It's all part of free speech. What free speech does not allow you to do is to incite. And if you malign somebody, they can take legal action against you in a court of law.
Yeah.
The rest of the thing is free speech.
Yeah, free speech. Yeah.
But decency suggests that mola alpha respect, kaela alpha respect nyan.
Yeah. Okay, Baraka Bake Kajadiata. And I am amazed at the number of callers. Mele Kolga shows the level of interest that people have in this conversation. Thank you to the listeners. So Uncle Laring Blorek Sarodi and Ngalongo will have another bite of the cherry at some point for you to be here. But Modolen Tex Gambia. Larry. Ako Shehu Sedile okay. Atefanambe Karanal Le Makang.
Okay.
But he's also making a suggestion. Oh, Shehu, I can't believe that Gambia, with all these intellectuals and brains we have, people like your guest, still we cannot get things right. And we have the likes of Adama Barrow running our country. If you look at the people that surround Adama Barrow, you look at their academic credentials, can we say that our educated folks have failed the Gambian people? Because normally most of the educated elites don't have interest in politics. They don't come forward. So is it that the elites have failed our country? We have a lot of clever people, educated, sharp-minded people, and yet our country is being run by people who cannot differentiate between their left and right hand. Uncle, that's a comment from a listener. But also, this same person made a suggestion. Sehu, this program is very important, but issue of language. I think you would have to, Uncle Larry can speak Wolof, maybe try to blend this with have Mandinka and Wolof just to reach to the wider audience. So, Malamvo, Uncle Larry, I don't know how good your Wolof is, but I'm not even suggesting all of them. Go ahead. Yeah, Mari, the question.
You know, Seku, there is a saying that says that if you are an educated person and you decide not to get involved and you end up being ruled by fools, you ask for it.
Yeah.
Some of us are engaged in this thing.
Yeah.
Gambia la lorna siata.
Back fund.
At a banna. Ibuka olom fang fonitata in the international arena.
Yeah.
Every single one of them is as sharp as a razor blade. But when it comes to serving the country, na follow da membe laban na wolto. Muna mo ni principle soto. Ye principle soto. Tonya mole muti. Itilinta. Ko dolu bije bukake. Wala so tatin na yewoluke. Karanalu. Janal be karanalu lonna. Al karto fa UDP mansakundata.
Exactly.
Otumola al be karanalu lonna. Because ntolka memfo dron wala munyinti ko nyimbanko sa change nola.
Yeah.
Andun na maule nimbentambe meeting nanka memfo dron sa change nole maximum 2 years, minimum 2 years, maximum 3 years, and then the other 2 years you consolidate. As a kenol. But not under the current environment.
Yeah.
Yala ka nyimmen foten mbajabila mandinka mansalol. Mandinkol ko. Ni tata molla manyo bitidulay me invite. Ni mirango teje. Ikaw mirango josay mirang kemelel. Alien na ko momoy. Yeta manyo biti dula wala kulli dula me invite ye miran oteje ka jo miran kemel. Ka foko intellectual buka sonna doku okela, that's not the issue. Intellectual be pare kan ka doku oke. Bar nima intellectual invite kana atina. Nana tafana niman space creator e kala londo practice. So ko be o control la keba ba anala experience, anala ethics, anala integrity, iko be o manipulate la to corrupt for you. Wala tinna bukata. It's as simple as that.
But intellectual men find principles or only man secunda calabante or do coquela no.
It is okay no.
Exactly.
It's not wala nango near principle soto. It's beyond a reasonable doubt that if you have principles, you are ethical, you are not corrupt, you cannot function in our current political ecosystem. Molka preso men to be corrupt is immense.
Yeah. Fat nyan drame ko yesuru ako moila ko Uncle Lare's Wolof is very good.
Ato nyala.
Okay. All right, maybe the next.
Fatu, you are right. They're gonna all of. Why next time didn't
next time didn't you guys see all of Tuti? Thank you so much to everybody. Uncle Larry, Baraka Baka, I can't thank you enough.
But let me say something. Yalom benna 27th anniversary Jurakan. Coming being a member for West Coast. Alinga reflect back nang hakilo kitindi back. Na mol men ya lonko victims lemut.
Yeah.
Ye bute. Ye barama.
Yeah.
Ye dol rape. Ye solo sandenyol dol fa. Wol man fay faye. Ifata bankole. The unfortunate thing is a lot of our political opponents don't buy that.
Yeah.
But ibe nemo men kono. And ibe nafa men kono. Coming ajiam seka menfo, it's the blood of the victim.
Yeah.
Alimbe duan na victims nyoli.
Yeah.
UDP bukaku kekensenke. Na kuntuta mantafu ngawole fo bi Peter. When they start saying why is the opposition not doing why? The inherency in it is that why is UDP not doing something? Because ni UDP maka bukaki. So nyanta ala tentula wotola. Paralinga duan na sawante fureolie.
Yeah.
Na kebalu yalon ko dose ni kumala fo malon fo mole o moy bake press conference. Ako koto mo du sane koto kemese Lamin Diba and it will be prisoners.
Yeah.
They were humiliated.
Yeah.
Now, in our humiliation, they didn't do it for themselves. They did it for all of us.
Yeah.
Well, now we are enjoying this freedom.
True.
Dukare alingi respect na bule noma. Kaje ko nyulie ko bele sacrifice moli.
Yeah.
I knew men for tenteni beka interakle. These are all very humble people. Anunko se na buka fangala kumofa kanyulle tafo. Bara afanan dabe o konole.
Afana mu victim
Yes, afana mu victim let. So mol menuka kan kajafri ibennenna iman grateful ni grateful tanu mote UDP kajafila molbe UDP respect la because UDP has sacrificed everything for this one. And man doubt sotoko if the situation presents itself again, UDP will do exactly the same thing. Na talalu alinga duaya alasi lajang sone andi aye bendi malaika inante olfe aye tanka kabro manto roma aye so arjannola because ibatatal de
wallahi
ibatatale
sukai da haba jibe
yes
uncle
Atele mo last victim ti ha. Latest victim.
Audio blood na WhatsApp group okono. I was very emotional. This is about a month and a half before she passed away.
Yes.
She was really, really. I don't know about all address cam, but I know audio dunda na back.
Nani molu ibatata banko en. Ando hanibi me fonyo be bataka banko en.
Back from.
Ikebayata so that dolka wulila so wolum press conference to nga koto kemesen jamme jibe. Mome koto kemesen long during the NCP times and then a la time in parliament. Yeo muta ye kursu sutu mudungal. Iba humiliate le ba dehumanize la. Hanwo mol ka foko ntol la patio manke fendi. Andun tol lenga banko bondi bulu jawo kono.
Tonya.
Na party members should know that ntol lenga Gambia bondi maral jawo kono.
Wallahi.
Andun tol lebe Gambia bondi la maral jawo kono koteke.
Koteke inshallah.
Ning ala sonda ntol lebe Gambia bondi la maral jawo kono koteke.
No, ni bada de kala kenzendi onko.
No. Party dingulu. Let them just keep their heads high up and keep doing what they are doing, knowing that the end of the tunnel is near.
Yeah.
Until after wale fola na party members new.
Abaraka Uncle Lare, absolutely breathtaking interview as always. Excellent presentation. You've been here 3 hours 31 minutes. That is fair time, but you can only do this on a UDP platform. So we are at home, and we'll always knock on your doors to be here. And as we embark on this quest to have Gambian voters actually to do it again in 2026, try to have a UDP government. We were robbed in 2021. But we will be more vigilant in 2026. So that we have a UDP government.
Vigilance, determination, tenacity, consistency. Those are the watchwords.
And unity. From a Cambian from a cable from the Bunyang and Horoma. And UDP before you do or say anything, think of the words that Uncle Larry said for the victims, the people who made ultimate sacrifice.
The ultimate sacrifice for all of us.
Imari, do a somber reflection of that. And maybe you will definitely make a good decision in whatever you're doing. But on that note, Uncle Larry, thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
It
was good to be here again.
Thank you. Abaraka.
Okay.
Thank you.
Abaraka.
Okay, program of there is a gentleman who was trying to call us from Italy. I do apologize, but I couldn't take your call because I know you said you wanted to ask something, but I had already closed the line and then maybe next time you can ask. But you could have written a comment. You could have asked your question in the comment section. Okay, I call. Does the UDP executive have any window where people can give proposal to the party executive? Sure. You can always give proposal to the party executive. The party executive listens to all of you. They watch this program. They listen to us. They follow the WhatsApp groups, so they do. Thank you. Thank you so much. Allah barakah the program of convergence for summer. When we will have the UDP chapter London branch, but tomorrow there will be an early start, 5:30 p.m. UK. Keep eye on that. Tell Lulu, not many times about we will start tomorrow. It's not going to start at 6, but inshallah we'll start an early start tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. UK. That should be 4:30 p.m. in the Gambia. Allah barakah. Thank you for your time. Allah barakah.